All right, yep, we are live. Um, we did talk or not quite, just briefly, just kind of talk for a second. But I just want to say, what's up, everybody? The Green Shiz, iFOMO, Corey. I think that's me. Yeah, that's me. Sorry. I just want to say thanks, iFOMO. I see you all the time in my chat, so I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you, Dan, as well. You're taking time out of your day. I know you have a family and I know you have a big business that you run, so I appreciate your time as well. So,
Yeah,
I'm
I always appreciate people reaching out, having me on. Always interesting to talk to different people, get different perspectives.
yeah, I mean, I know you're always live and you're always talking to other people, but this is our first time talking. I did briefly meet you in Chicago. You were doing your big deals. I remember you were looking for cash for your punch
Oh
or not your
yeah,
ponchos, but your felt hat Pikachu's. You were looking for
yeah.
cash and you were trying
That
to trying to Venmo, I think, people for cash or something like that. I can't necessarily
that
remember, but
I feel like I faintly remember that, but that was like a blur. That was quite the hectic moment. I'm one of those people that like I need to meet and see someone, talk to them, shake their hand 2 or 3 times until I fully remember their name and everything. So I apologize for not
no,
really
you're good, dude. It was
remembering that in
briefly. I
depth.
mean, I saw you in the wild and you were with Old School. He was looking through a binder and you were with Radar and I was just wanted to come over and just just say hello and just kind of just introduce myself, but obviously in one ear not the other, and I totally understand that, dude. I meet people all the
I was
time and
shaking people down
I
for
don't
cash.
remember
Yeah.
anybody's names.
I, I go to a handful of conventions every year, and it's like I meet 50 people for the first time, and it's like there's so many people that I've talked to, so many hours in Discord, so many different things on YouTube. Sometimes I have a hard time remembering who I just know from the chats, who I know from the Discords, and who I've actually met to in person, and which conventions I met them at. So like, yeah, I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I remember. I think I remember meeting Walrus outside. No, I met him at the Collecticon or whatever. But we were going into trade night, and he was coming out, stumbling down the stairs, and everybody was piling in an Uber. And I think you were there with them, and everybody was piling in that Uber, and they're all stumbling. It was pretty funny.
Sounds like a late night collecticon to me.
But I guess we'll address the elephant in the room. The reason kind of why we are talking. We kind of went a little bit in the Instagram DMs with each other about one of your lives last week on. I kind of was in your chat saying how Gem Mint may or may not have known that those cards were fake, and not that you took it personally, but in a way that like we kind of went at each other a little bit of you know that situation, and I guess that is kind of what brought us together in a way. But it's
Mm.
I don't necessarily think that Gem Mint was involved with knowing that these cards were fake. The My take was that it could have been possible that other people might think this, that because he does live in Japan, he does know a lot of these people, and that was kind of like my thought on it, that it's a possibility that maybe he did know. That was my kind of thing. And then I did in chats, you're kind of like saying things to maybe pick at people or kind of trolling, so I did maybe say it in other ways. So you know that's kind of like where we kind of.
Yeah, I'll recap it a little bit from my perspective because it got a little bit heated, and I apologize for some of my wording. I could have been better with that, but where I was coming from is like, uh, it's a dangerous thing to just question out loud, specifically with someone's name when you don't know them whatsoever. The one thing that I think we could share agreement on, and I never said this, but maybe some others were saying it. So you had mentioned that you were in other live streams or you were in other chats, and people were like, "Hey, there's 0% chance Gem Mint Pokemon had any involvement in it. Like I know XYZ. Like there's no chance." That's nothing that I ever said. I mean, I know I had 0% involvement in it because I am me and I'm always where I am. And I kind of picked at it in my live stream last night It's like, I don't know with 100% confidence that my dad wasn't involved. I got him into the pallet investments last year, right, with Pokemon. And who's to say what he went on and did? I'm not with my dad every night. I'm not with my dad every hour of every day. So, but saying it out loud is where I had the issue, because while I agree that no one should definitively say that he didn't do it, I also don't think some of the statements you were making were fair. Like, oh, well, he has a lawyer, so that's questionable. I mean, I have an attorney. I have an attorney that I deal with on certain business dealings. When you're doing like a multi 7-figure, Zach might even be an 8-figure business. I don't even know. But just some dangerous things like, oh, he's not on a live stream defending himself when he just so happened to be in Japan trying to like deal with the mess that was going on. That was where my whole thing was coming from. Some of the things that were being said were dangerous to me, and I definitely got a little bit defensive because I do personally know Zach. While I can't say 100% he wasn't involved, I believe as strongly as I possibly could, not having babysat him his entire past year, I'm as confident as I can be that he didn't have any involvement, wouldn't have had any involvement. But to say 100% no chance, like, that's just not possible for me to say. And no one else should say that if they don't have like full confirmation of that being true, right?
Yeah, and I don't want to, because this was a week ago, and this was a live that I don't really watch TCA Gaming much, but I was watching one of his pack rips for maybe like 20 minutes, and he did mention that people were talking about it, and I believe he did say that there was no way that Gem Mint knew. That's kind of where I got it from, and then other people kind of like saying there's no way, and that's just kind of like why it kind of like irked me a little bit. And it's like these people, not sorry to say these people, but like I feel like people, and you do know him personally, so I shouldn't say that people are blindly defending him, but nobody knows. Like, how do they know that he wasn't paid to buy these cards? How do they know that he wasn't paid to promote these? Like, I'm not saying he was, but like, it's a possibility. That was my only thing. And then like everybody's saying that there's no way, but nobody knows of who was involved. So it could be a huge elaborate plan, and nobody knows.
And to me, it's like, I did
or
the
it
whole
could just be a
patriotic
couple of
thing.
people printing the cards and they duped everybody. Nobody knows. Who knows?
Yeah, like where I left it was fraud took place. Somewhere, somehow fraud took place. I have no idea who was involved. I don't agree with saying, like, I'm very close friends with Rusty too. I'm very close friends with Zach. I don't agree with using the wording like, oh, I 100% know that he has no involvement whatsoever. So I never said that. If I were Rusty, me being me, like, I don't agree with saying something so definitive unless he 100% knows. I don't think there's any way that a human can know 100% what any other human does, right? Because you're not with them every second of every day. So I wouldn't have used the same wording. But one important thing to think of is like your context going into my live stream was you hearing multiple people saying, oh, there's zero chance Zach ever did it. My context, which I should have shared actually, which went into a little bit of maybe why I got so defensive. I forget what live stream it was. I forget maybe it was a Reddit post. I came from a couple hours prior to my live. I watched some live stream. It was a live stream or a video. It might have been, I didn't even want to use the names because like I wasn't a big fan of the content, but I watched a couple different videos about the topic and they're like, Gem Mint Pokemon's a scumbag. He was definitely involved. He's a scammer. He's this, that. So your context was people defending him 100%. Like there's no chance he was involved. My context was I was watching like a literal slanderous video where people were just saying things, talking out of their backside. I don't know if we can curse here or not, but talking completely out of their backside with no proof whatsoever. So it's like people were spouting things out of their ass. And in my headspace, when I saw you in chat, so just to give further context behind why I might have gotten a little bit more defensive, but like still, to be fair to me too. So to be fair to you, that was my context. To be fair to me, like this is America, due process, innocent until proven guilty. I think one thing that the social media mob can do a lot of times is they can do like guilty until proven innocent. Like, hey, Zach, we have reason to believe you were close to these cards. Like, we think you're guilty. You owe us to come on and defend yourself immediately on a live stream right now. And the fact that you have a lawyer and the fact that you're not live on YouTube, that makes you more likely guilty. That's where you just entirely lose me. That's where I feel like you're losing the plot. Due process exists for a reason. And he gave further context in the meantime, too. Like, he was in Japan fixing things that were falling apart, that were broken due to these things going on. And I think you mentioned earlier, actually, that he lives in Japan. He actually doesn't live in Japan. He lives, I don't want to say, he lives in the United States.
Yeah,
I think he travels a lot. Like, he's a well-traveled person for sure. He does a lot of high-end big deals in Pokemon. But
and I definitely don't know him, like, and I don't care to follow him. Like, I'm not trying to get in anybody's business. So it's like, for me to like be so like for this topic, because like we were kind of going back and forth, and I felt like I was just trying to argue my point, and I felt like you were doing the same. And like, I there's no reason for me to spend this much time and energy on this situation, and like whether he did or didn't, because I don't know, and nor do I care, because one, like, I didn't buy any of these cards, and maybe if I did, I might have a different, you know, uh, take on it, and I might be a little more hostile towards people just because like I do have money involved in these cards, and but I don't. So it's like, I'm not trying to really dig down deep into who did this, and like, because it just, I don't care.
yeah,
So
and frankly, like, I have no involvement whatsoever as far as the cards. I never consigned any. I never purchased any. I bid on a couple and I lost them. I bid a couple $1,000 on a couple different Charmanders, and I wasn't even close to the high bid. But like, I have a vested interest in finding out who is involved to some extent, right? Because this is like the hobby that I love. This is the my business is in this space. So like, I am as confident as I can be. I wouldn't say 100% because I can't be, but I am quite confident that I know the human being, Gem Mint Pokemon. I've known him for 10 years. He's one of my closer friends in the Pokemon hobby. And I have a vested interest in getting his name cleared, or in the extremely unlikely scenario, like if he were guilty, like if it was my dad, if it was my brother, if it was my closest friend in Pokemon,
yeah, and
I
I
would
hear
want
you on
them,
that for
like,
sure.
I would want justice to be brought to them. I want the FBI to get to the bottom of this. I want the frauds to be found out, and I want people to go to jail over this.
I mean,
I
yeah,
fear that they won't, but
if if
we'll see what
if I
happens.
had it, I would hope my friends did the same thing to me, because they should know me, and they should know I wasn't involved in that. So I respect that, and I would do the same thing. And that's kind of where I felt like I was trying to argue my point, and I didn't really have, I didn't have like a stance on it. Like, I wasn't like, he did it. That wasn't my take at all. Like,
Yeah.
my take was that it's a possibility because nobody knows. And that my thoughts were that, like, it's a possibility because, one, I know he doesn't live in Japan, but he's always there. He knows a lot of people. He was talking about these cards and like kind of promoting them and bringing them to light. That was my only thought of why he could possibly have known.
Yeah,
And
he's definitely very close to the situation, and if and when, I hope the FBI gets involved, he will be being questioned by the authorities. Like, that's where I come from,
yeah,
is like, due process. I know we live in the age of like social media, TikTok brain, rabble, rabble, rabble. We need to know things now, but like, let this stuff go its course. Hopefully CGC will make everyone whole. Hopefully the bad actors will be found and jailed, and then it's just not going to be quick. Like, people want a resolution. I've seen people on the E4 thread. I've actually been following the E4 thread every couple of days. I'll pop in there, and they're like, I can't believe that not everyone's been fully refunded yet, and blah blah blah. It's like, it's been a couple weeks. CGC hasn't even gotten all the cards back yet.
yeah, it's gonna be at least over a year before really anything.
Yeah, like, if a full multi-international like FBI investigation were to take place, dealing with the Japanese authorities and the United States authorities, and like, there's a lot to this.
Yeah, people just want things to happen overnight, and like, they like to point fingers at anybody. So it's like, I understand why you did get defensive about it, because and I wasn't trying to like saying he did do it. I was more so saying that there's those like things that I mentioned was possibly why. But I don't want to keep keep going back and forth on it, and it's just, I don't know. It's over. I don't think he was involved. It could come out that he was. Who knows? But it's likely that he probably wasn't, and he thought these cards were real, and I'm sure a lot of people thought they were real. Obviously, CGC thought they were real. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if you watched it yourself, but one of my favorite pieces of content that came out of this like bad situation, I thought Jake Pokenomics made a really good video about it because he is one of the victims of this. So he bought some of the cards. He's actually affected. I think he mentioned, I can't remember if he mentioned it privately or publicly, but he mentioned roughly the amount that he was subject to, like the risk, the exposure to these cards, and it was a lot. It was I don't want to say, just in case he didn't say it publicly, but it was quite a bit. He didn't own just one or two of them. He owned quite a few. And he kind of he mentioned that he knew there was risk. He had no idea they were fake. He knew that there was some percent chance. I think his brain works a lot like mine. He's very little like analytical minded. He's very like calculating his risks, and he attributed some percent chance that they were fake. And he kind of took ownership of some of that responsibility. He's like, I did know that CGC authenticated them. I did know that they had a financial guarantee, but to be honest, like some amount of greed, some amount of that like factored into his decision, and it got the best of him in the end, right? Like he knew that there was a risk, and the downside happened of that. And it's unfortunate. Hopefully everyone's made whole. Hopefully the bad actors go to jail. But I have no idea who the bad actors are. I hope they will be found out, though, whether or not I know who they are. Because there's more people outside of just Zach that I like know that handled these cards, that facilitated consigning, grading, moving. And I hope nobody I know is involved. I hope it's all bad actors outside of my circle. But like, if anyone in my circle was involved, I want you to go to jail. Like that's just where I land on it.
Yeah, and retrospects did bring up a point in the chat earlier that I did listen to the Pokey SMP podcast, and apparently he did go to Madagascar, or not Gemmint, Akabane. So
Yeah.
we were this still totally different person, but in Madagascar, which is potentially he's hiding out there, which is kind of an interesting thought.
I heard Jesse mention that too. Yeah, I have no idea of the validity of that.
I mean, I don't know what Madagascar is that like, because I mean, I'm assuming Japanese, authorities and stuff would work with the FBI and all that. So, or is like Madagascar a country that wouldn't work with the FBI kind of thing, or what? I have no idea.
The only thing I know about Madagascar is that series of animated movies that they made, Madagascar 1, 2, and 3.
I'm assuming you like to move it, Dan.
Yeah.
Your kids are probably dancing to that or something.
Yep, for sure. That's the extent of my knowledge about that country.
But speaking of Pokenomics, that's actually where I found you. This was back in probably 2020 or 2021. I remember you first kind of started out your channel. You probably had like 200 subscribers when I found you. I remember being sad and upset when you hit 1,000 subscribers because Pokey flips. Then I had to listen to the ads, and I'm so cheap to do YouTube Premium, and I was disappointed that day. And then you guys started your own channel soon after. So
then you got to ad free for a while again, right?
Yep. So I've been following you for a while. No creeper status or anything like that, but I do enjoy your take. So it's not like I'm just in your lives to antagonize you or trying to poke the bear or anything like that. Because most of the times when I listen to your podcast or other people's as well, it's after the fact, and I just enjoy a lot of the conversations and takes by you and as well as others. So I'm definitely not there to hate watch you or to just get a reaction out of you. So me coming at like, Gem Mint in a way wasn't for me to bring the red light Dan out of you. So that wasn't what my goal was. So just want to let you know that.
And a lot of times when I'm red light, I'm more going after concepts. I'm not going after individual people. And I said it privately, but I will say it again publicly. I apologize for going so hard at it. I think it's a lot better to be face to face digitally in this way. Text only is not a good way to convey information. It's not a good way to have conversation. And I should have just done better. I should have done better. I still disagree with certain like stretches you were trying to make, certain leaps, whatever. Again, like not talking, having an attorney, things like that. I still don't agree with those things. But being able to come together in the middle, when two people disagree, two respectful, understanding human beings should be able to say like, hey, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. We can find a little bit of overlap in the middle in that we both agree that like no one who can't do it shouldn't definitively say, I know this person's not involved. So yeah, I think we have some overlap. We have some things we don't agree on, but I think that's a reasonable thing.
Yeah, I guess one more thing, and then you can say something too, or otherwise we can move on from here. It was, I guess, like kind of like in our DMs, you were more so saying that like it's kind of like calling him a PDF file, and it's something totally different in my opinion, because if I would have said that about him or about anybody, I would have no basis to that. Whereas like my kind of quote unquote accusation that Gem Mint may have been involved, it does have a little bit of basis to it. So it's kind of like, I think, an extreme that you kind of had said. So
that was an analogy that I shouldn't have
yeah,
even
I
brought
know.
anywhere into the conversation. But like the analogy that would have been better to make would be like, hey, I see a guy, like I live in upstate New York. Hunting is like a big thing around me, deer hunting. If I saw a guy with a pickup truck with blood in the back of the truck, and I saw like a rifle in the back of his window, that's something that I actually see around me. If I started saying like, hey, that guy has a gun, that guy has a truck, that guy had blood in his truck, if I start calling him a murderer, or like I don't have any proof that he's not a serial killer, that would be irresponsible of me, considering that there's other reasonable explanations. And I'm just like, oh, hey, Johnny down the road, I mean, he had a gun, he had blood in his truck. I have no proof that he's not a serial killer, right? Well, like that's more of a proper analogy, I feel, because like, hey, yes, Zach has been around Japan. Zach was involved in these in handling these cards, getting these cards authenticated. But I just think it's irresponsible to go and like, oh, hey, he's not talking. He has a lawyer. I'm fairly certain he could be involved. Like that just that was too far for me. Still.
I hear you. And
I don't think we're gonna like end this with full
yeah,
agreement on
I mean,
everything.
yeah, and it's fine because I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't really care enough to even to dig up anything. So it is what it is, and we'll find out eventually, and we'll give it a year, and maybe we'll come back on one of these lives, and we'll talk about the real culprits and the real scandal that happened, and everybody would
Yeah,
have a
I don't even want to use a name here, but if someone that I say like I have a strong feeling just knowing who they are, I'm not going to use a name here, but like if I say today that I have a strong feeling, I've known this person for a long time, I don't believe they would be involved. The way that like social media brain works, the way that like people think about things, no nuance allowed, no gray area allowed. People a year later would be like, this guy ended up being found out to be involved. Dan was wrong. It's like I'm a weatherman here. I'm not saying it's 100% going to be sunny tomorrow. It's 100% going to rain tomorrow. It's like I have a strong reason to believe 90+% chance that someone is not involved, but like I wouldn't be right or wrong whether the person was exonerated or found to be involved. But that's the way people would treat it. That's the way. Oh, remember that debate that two people were having a year ago? One guy was right, one guy was wrong. It's like neither of us are definitively saying if someone is involved or not involved. You're implying maybe there's a higher percentage chance. I'm implying maybe there's a lower percentage chance. But that's just the way that that's the way that people work. People see black or white. People see binary. They don't see the in between. At least that's my read of the situation.
yeah. So I guess I did have a question, like kind of on your business. We'll stop this whole little discussion here because yeah, like I mean, we already kind of discussed it in the DMs and everything like that, but it was more so kind of how we've got this live started in a way. So that's kind of why I wanted to clear the air about that whole thing, because I thought it was kind of funny that I went to my local, well, I guess it's not necessarily local, it's 2 hours away in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, outside of Milwaukee, and walking around, one of the vendors was like, "Hey, you were in Dan's live. He was talking about you in his live," and I just thought it was kind of funny, and then we kind of got this live here going. So I do appreciate you coming on here. So, but a question about your business. I mean, obviously not everything you're buying at 80%, some things at 70%, but let's say like the hot packs that you posted today that you're buying at 80%. How do you necessarily make money on that? My question is just that people ship it to you. No, you can keep that up.
Okay.
If you want. I mean, unless you don't want
I
to,
just
but
had it handy, so I figured I'd
yeah,
flash
yeah.
it.
So I guess my question is that you buy those packs 80%, they ship it to you, you ship it to Ponga or PK, you pay them hourly. Where is your percentage? I'm kind of like,
So
I don't see it.
it's a
I
good
don't
question.
necessarily, yeah, you're
Yeah.
really transparent with your business. That's kind of why I'm asking you these questions.
Yeah, so I make more money. I do better when I'm paying 70%, but certain high demand packs, when I'm offering 70, 75%, I don't get enough of them to keep up with how much we sell on stream. So like every Monday I do a hot buy list. Here's my current hot buy list from this week. I'll take it off so it's not distracting, but like 1750 I'm paying for evolving, 875 I'm paying for 151. So I pay when I really need to, I pay between 80 and 85% for high demand sets. I sell on Fanatics Live for about 110% of market. So my platform fees on Fanatics are about 9%. I believe it's actually like 8.9%. But if I sell for 110%, I pay 8.9% fees. That means after platform fees, I'm getting about 100%. It's not fully my number to share, but I pay PK and Ponga quite well. I pay them on an hourly basis. But me netting after platform fees 100%, paying 80%. On that 20%, within that, I'm making money and Ponga and PK are making money. I can't share the exact split because like it's not my number to share. I'll be transparent with my own information, but not with others people's information.
I feel you. I guess so. That's how they get their hourly rate, you would say.
Yeah, within that, so 100% is netted after platform fees before paying the streamer. And I also have to ship to the streamer. You can ship packs very economically. You can actually ship 1,000 packs for like I can ship 1,000 packs to PK for $30. I can ship 1,000 packs to Ponga for $40. So 3 cents, 4 cents a pack, not very much to ship packs. So yeah, I make on the 20%. That's where I get paid. That's where the streamer gets paid. So there's enough room there on 20. Obviously, 20% of an Evolving Skies pack. That's like $2. That's plenty. When you can rip, I mean, you can do the math. You can rip 100 packs in an hour. You can do the math. If we're ripping 100 Evolving Skies packs in an hour, there's $200 of profit for us to share. If we're ripping 100 packs of a $4 set, a $5 set, now it's 40 or 50 or sorry, it would be 20% of $5. So it would be $1. So it'd be $100 an hour. Now there's $100 an hour to split. If it's a $5 pack, there's if it's a $20 pack, there's $200 a split.
Okay. All right. I see that. I guess that's kind of where I was like, how the hell does this guy make any money? He takes these products in, he ships them out. Where's his margin at? That is just kind of my thoughts. And maybe obviously you have other revenues and you have other ways of making your income. You do consignments, which those do pretty well for you. I'm pretty sure that's was most of your revenue throughout all of last year was eBay consignments and then Fanatic consignments. So the I was a benefit of your eBay vault consignments when you were liquidating a lot of those cards. I wish I had more money to spend, but that was a good time when everybody was liquidating things.
Did
I
you get
do
one of the
have
festivals? Were you one of the ones who bought one of the festivals, or what did you end up buying from that?
It was some of the like stamped like champions festival cards, yeah, like the
Yeah,
top
yeah,
champions and top
I remember that now. Yeah.
semifinalists and stuff.
Yep.
I do have one of your autographed cards over there in my drawer.
The Metazoo one?
No, it's I don't know.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
remember. I I don't know if it was I
Probably
bought something on on your eBay and told you to sign a card, but you
it's
gotta.
probably one of these. I
It
keep them
is one of those,
right
yeah.
next to me. Yeah, these are the ones that I sign the most.
I got Green Shizzes in there. I got Professor Oak, PK. I don't know, a couple other people is in there. Um, I don't know where I was going with that, but uh, I guess one thing, and we don't really have to talk too much about it, but PK was very openly and publicly, about how easy it is to scam people on whatnot and with resealed packs. And this was maybe a year or so ago. How do how do you, I guess, like, I'm not saying he's resealing packs, but he was very public about how easy it is for people to scam others. Does that, like, I don't know. What do you think about that? Does that make you fearful at all a little bit? I know you guys aren't like quote unquote business, like you guys are completely different businesses. And I don't want to, because one, I was throwing Gem Min out there and saying he does this. I'm not saying PK is doing that. I'm just saying
Mhm.
that he was
No,
very openly about this thing, and it's kind of like now he is selling, and it's just, it's, I don't know, it's
yeah,
question.
I can address what your statement, your question, whatever. It's a factually correct statement that a high level of trust is required in buying from a live streamer, and I kind of like the whole Gemmit thing. There is nothing Gemmit can say or do that will 100% definitively prove his innocence. There is nothing I can say or do that will 100% definitively prove my innocence on in 2 weeks. Ponga is going to be breaking this on Fanatics Live for Pokemon Day. I might be going with him to Chicago. There is nothing I can say or do to prove to you that I did not CT scan this box. I can say it. I didn't. There's nothing I can say or do to prove the guy before me didn't CT scan this box. But like, I genuinely have no clue what's in here. I'm as confident as I can be, which mind you, it's not 100%. I'm not 100% confident the guy before me didn't CT scan this box. But what I can tell you, just like I can tell you about Gem Mint, he's a trustworthy guy. I've known him for 10 years. The guy that I bought this from, he's done business, multi 8 figures worth of sales, I think. Definitely 7 figures, maybe 8 figures. But he's done, I've bought 30 WotC boxes from him at this point. He's been doing WotC boxes for a long time. He's the most legitimate source of WotC boxes that anyone has known for the past few years. So at some point, some amount of trust has to be there. And PK does know how to reseal stuff. I know given that I buy so many packs loose, I need to know how people would receive packs if they did it. I need to know what to look out for. I need to know what to feel for. I need to know what it would look like, feel like. And yeah, at the end of the day though, it just comes down to trust. It's like, you need to trust me, open, honest, transparent Dan that's been around for 10 years. I am making a very good wage in this hobby. Do you really think I'm going to reseal a $20 Evolving Skies pack? Do you really think I'm going to reseal a $10 151 pack? To me, all I can do is tell you I never will. I never have, never will. And if you don't trust me, if you don't believe me, don't buy from me. Like that is all I can say. That is all I can do. If you're uncomfortable with it, like, please don't buy from me if you're not 100% or 99.99% as confident as you can be. And I'll say the same thing about Ponga PK. I can tell you, knowing them as long as I've known them, knowing them as well as I know them, I'm as confident as I can be that they would never do any of that stuff. I would not put my name in the line for them. They would not risk. I mean, PK just quit his engineering job like I did formerly. He has a wife, he has kids. He's making a very good wage working for me. The second that he did any of that stuff, it would be over. Obviously, it would be over.
Yep. I
He's
mean,
not
yeah, of
doing
course.
that.
Like, it would be very stupid, but I mean, look at the guy PKM and to go. And what the funny thing is,
And Blake's brakes, right?
I remember about a year ago, maybe even longer ago, I mentioned something in his comments because he was promoting uh, like I don't remember. I just remember mentioning something about him promoting kids in his video and like trying to profit off the kids like doing these shorts or whatever, like trying to like advertise these kids, like giving away to kids or whatever. And I like mentioned something about like how you're using kids or whatever. And like he kept coming at me in the comments or whatever. And we kept going back and forth. But now I just kind of find it funny that he was scamming people on whatnot. So I don't know. It's just everybody's, a trustful person until they're not. And it's just like, this guy had a reputation. He had a following on YouTube. And, you know, people are dumb and I don't know, they'll reseal prismatic packs and put master balls in it and make you look like you pulled something, but you really didn't. And nobody really knows.
And that's one of those things that like there is nothing I can say or do that will ever 100% prove to anyone that the base box we opened. I've heard some people speculate. I've heard some people like, well, Dan pulled the Charizard on the 11th pack. The last 2 packs were hollow. I promise you, once we open this one, we're going to have some good boxes. We're going to get, maybe we'll get Gengars, Dragonites, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll get Charizards, maybe we won't. All I can tell you is I genuinely have no idea what's in these boxes. I'm as confident as I can be that the people who own these boxes before me don't know what's in them, didn't do anything to find out what's in them. But I can't even 100% convince myself ever. I go and I open it and I do the event. And yeah, if that's beyond your risk tolerance, then don't consume that product. Like don't bid on my packs. Don't bid on Ponga PK's packs if you can't trust the process. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, and I'm not trying to like, say your business is bad or trying to like throw you under the bus or anything like that. It was more so just a thing of like, it's just, I'm not saying he is scamming people because I don't think he is, and I hope he's not. But like, it was just kind of like a thing of like somebody that was very openly public about how easy it is to scam people, and then now he's quote unquote not he's not on whatnot, but he's doing like the same thing as what people do on whatnot is rip packs. So it was just a thing that I kind of like was like, oh, it's kind of interesting that he's one to be very publicly and even show you how, not necessarily show you how to, but he had a resealed ETB, resealed booster box, all kinds of different things that he showed that he resealed. And on camera, you had no idea it was resealed. So it was like, it's just, I don't want to say he is doing these things because I don't think he is, but it's just like you're like kind of like we're promoting them a year ago, how easy it was to do it. So it's just.
And honestly, like my position, I'm fully aware of PK's entire past on YouTube. I've followed him the whole way. I'm fully aware of like Pongo's past on various channels and stuff on YouTube too. And that honestly made me more comfortable. The fact that PK, because one thing that I need to do, one thing that PK needs to do, we need to defend ourselves. When I buy, let me flash it back on screen. When I buy these packs from the general public, there's a risk that I'm not doing it, PK's not doing it, but there's a risk that I'm buying Evolving Skies packs from people that have been resealed by them. And me giving it a once over, me looking at it, maybe I buy 100 packs, maybe I open one of them because they seem a little sus, whatever. One big issue in the Pokemon space is this stuff is mass produced. I've opened boxes from distribution that had half open packs. I've opened boxes and packs from distribution that had like too many commons in it, that had like overstuffed packs. The amount of overlap between a good reseal and bad quality control is very large. It's alarmingly large. And having me to vet the pack's legitimacy, having PK to vet the pack's legitimacy, I'm as comfortable as I possibly can be. I understand what you're saying fully. I understand that like, oh, well, wouldn't that be a potential detriment hiring someone who has a past talking about it? I'm open, honest, transparent Dan, and I'm going to address the elephant in the room. You had me on here. We talked about our dramatic interaction before. I'm not going to shy away from it. And this is like a fundamental, I guess I'll call it a flaw. This is a fundamental flaw or a fundamental like issue in the live streaming business is the immense amount of trust. And What you have to ask yourself when you go into a live stream that I'm running with PK Ponga, do you think Dan is going to throw away 10 years of multi-millions dollars worth of sales, a well-paying multi-six-figure annual job? Do you think Dan's going to throw all that away to make an extra couple $1,000 on a Watsy box, to make an extra couple bucks here and there on prismatic packs and this and that? Like, I scamming perfectly and risking everything, I could probably make an extra 50 or 100 grand a year or something. But like, I'm already making a lot of money. PK and Pong are already making a lot of money. All I can do is tell you, I promise you, I swear to you, I am not resealing, CT scanning, any of that naughty stuff. I'm 99.99% sure PK and Ponga aren't and would never either. But I can't say 100% because I am not them. And I'm not with, I can tell you 100% because this will not have been touched by Ponga alone without me present. The base set box was not touched without by PK without me present. Not that I would worry about it, but like, I can only tell you 100% the things that I handle 100%. So yeah, that's my whole statement about that thing. Like, as a good businessman, I need to know my risks, and one of my risks is, do I have the trust level? Do Ponga and PK have the trust level for people to actually buy from us? And to be honest, I think people need to do better defending themselves from bad actors. And I think overall, as a hobby, I think a lot of times people are too trusting. Look at Blake's Breaks, all the people that he scammed. Look at whatever the username of that recent guy was. I don't know what the solution is for it. Hopefully, there's going to be more people like Rusty that does pack breaks. Again, I can't say 100%, but like, as close as I could out of anyone in the hobby, I would say TCA Gaming's pack breaks that he does on YouTube are as many nines after the decimal point, as many nines as possible. 99.9999% that he is not going to scam you, that he is not going to do anything to damage your trust. But and that's actually an interesting point to bring up. Rusty, I think Rusty is better than me at vetting Watsy boxes, at vetting things for reseals, because he's handled so many more. Rusty himself has been scammed on a Watsy resale. PokeRev himself has been scammed on a Watsy resale. So like, guys that are better than me have been caught before. On a long enough timeline, I think it's almost inevitable that a pack or two at least will get through me, get through PK, get through Ponga. It's an inevitability. It's uncomfortable to talk about, but I'm not going to shy away from the hard conversations. I feel like there's something you have to take head on.
Yeah, and I think you're completely right. Like, I think that there's really no way that you can know unless you did you. I feel like Rusty. Everybody says he's very trustworthy, and I think he probably is very trustworthy. He's shown it to a lot of different people, and I think if you're buying a box from him, I think you're golden. But I think if you're buying a box at, say, a Collecticon from some vendor, or you're buying some packs from some vendor that you never met before, and just because they have a YouTube following and a lot of people watch them doesn't mean that their product is still good. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of get the misconception, is that like these people that have a following and, oh yeah, he pulled me this or that or whatever, and it's like, yeah, well, he might have pulled that for his buddy. Like, you could potentially come into my stream and I'm pulling packs that are all resealed, and oh yeah, I know this guy's name. This is Zach7ETB. He's gonna get the good stuff, and then Joe Schmo that's next, he's just gonna get the Snickle Fritz packs, that have the little hits. So like, you can hide these things, and nobody's ever going to be completely trustworthy, and so it's just that's the problem with opening things on camera, is that you have no proof on anything. So it's all about trust.
There's nothing I can say or do to definitively, I cannot 100% exonerate myself. I cannot 100% exonerate PK or Ponga. There's nothing I can do physically, like in this world, that would ever convince you 100% definitively that we did not pull a fast one on you in a live stream. It's impossible. It is literally an impossible task. So
Right. Yep.
the entire And it's becoming like a massive part of the industry. It's becoming a massive part. It's like a fundamental.
It's
I don't know if I
because
would call
there's
it like
so
a.
much money involved now, and it's just that, you know, you're every pretty much pack rip you're spending $50 pretty much minimum, and $50 is a lot of money, and you could potentially get $2 in return of worth of things, so it's like, some of these people are just losing money, and then some of them are addicted and they keep going back, and if they're in this Pokemon to go stream, well, they're never going to hit anything, and they're keeping coming back to. So it's like, it's, I don't know, it's kind of a scary thing to think about, that these
Yeah,
smaller whatnot streamers could potentially all be scamming people, whereas like the I'm gonna say the bigger people like you and Rusty and I think those people, they have way too much to lose to scam people. This Pokemon is like their whole life, and it always has been their life. So it's like, why would they do these types of things to ruin their life? And it's like
mm,
some of these other people that just came, maybe even through the COVID pandemic and things like that, Pokemon hasn't been their life, so it's like they've been just kind of taking advantage of people, and that's kind of how they see the hobby. So there's just a difference of people, of outlooks and what they want to do in this hobby, and some people are, use it as their life. This is their lifestyle of Pokemon, and there's other people that just use it as a means to get other things. So
yeah. Wherever there is money, there will be people doing bad things, and there's no way around it. It's an unfortunate, uh, it's an unfortunate fact in life. But what one thing, if someone wanted to get really Detective Pikachu, like I will straight up tell you how many packs of every set we sold for the year. And if someone wants to get really Detective Pikachu, I see we have a couple regulars in chat. Kiki Jiki's in here. He hangs out in a lot of live streams. And anecdotally, Ponga's got some hot hands when it comes to 151. I don't know off the top of my head how many Charizards he's pulled, but he's opened in 2025. He's opened 582 151 packs. It's not that much when the pull rates of the hardest to pull cards are nearly like 1 in 1,000. But once I do my 2025 recap video, if Dan is saying like, hey, we opened 10,000 packs of Prismatic, Dan only ever had like 2 Umbreon SIRs pulled on his stream, and there should have been 10, right? 1 out of 1,000 packs or whatever they are. Like maybe someone out there will be doing the Detective Pikachuing, and hopefully they're good at math. Hopefully they can realize that some cards you'll pull more than you should, and some cards you won't pull as much as you should. But like you actually could kind of vet the math behind how many packs we're selling and how many big hitters are coming, right?
do you keep you that's I'm assuming you don't keep track of what was pulled or anything like that, like the SIRs or illustration rares or anything like that, like that's
Occasionally I'll get DMs and stuff, but like I don't have a spreadsheet where I track every single one.
yeah,
If you
that's
ask
way
Ponga,
too much.
no,
That's crazy.
it would be impossible. And the thing is, like of my prismatic, we've sold 3,380 prismatic packs so far this
You
year.
are a
The first
spreadsheet guy, and that would be a great spreadsheet to have.
it's the spreadsheets I already have just to track how many packs each of them have and have sold and how much I owe them and this and that. If I started tracking the hits, that would be that would be next level. It would be cool. It would be cool for like for some kind of a recap. Hey, we opened 150,000 packs this year, and we opened this many Moonbreons and this many Sunbreons or whatever people are calling it, and all these different things. Like, but
Which
as
packs
of
have
right
the
now,
best hits rates and things like that.
I'm one who personally doesn't buy into the whole ETBs versus 3-pack blisters versus this that. Like, I think the hit rates are just the hit rates, and the sample sizes that people try to pull from and extrapolate from are just so small relative. Like, if you open 500 packs, even if you open 1,000 packs, when the pull rate of the hardest to hit card is 1 in 1,000, 1,000 is not a representative sample. If 1,000 people open 1,000 packs each, some will pull multiple, some will pull 0, and on average, 63% of people will pull at least one card by the pull rate. That's how the math works. I play RuneScape. I know all about drop rates, RuneScape, things like that.
I know I play RuneScape too. I think you blacklisted me. I think you're always on offline or some shit. I also haven't logged into RuneScape in months, but
Do you play old school or do you
yeah,
play?
old school, old school.
Did
Fire
you
dads. If you
I go on private when if I'm live on YouTube and I'm like cutting you logs on the other screen, I'll try to make it so that I'm not like obviously online. I will have my thing privated, and then sometimes I forget to take it off. But I think the way the friends list on RuneScape works, don't you have to add each other?
yeah, we did add each other. I'm fire
I
dad.
fired dad. I haven't been I played a bunch for the leagues,
Yeah,
but
I haven't logged in much. My
I haven't played
account,
much since the leagues.
I'm a peer, so like I need to upgrade my account.
Oh, you PK? I don't do anything in the wilderness really.
Yeah, I need to. I think I need to just main max my account because like I got so many 99s. I probably have like 12 99s. I think.
I've got farming, and then I think hit points and strength and a couple like that, but not too many.
Um, I guess since we were kind of talking about these resealed things and stuff like that, CT scanning of boxes. What is? I know you gave a lot of takes on your thoughts, and I know you like the CT scanning and you think it's a good place. Um, I can't remember if it was you that was talking about Golden that has that Chinese box. That's
I showed that on my stream last night, I believe. Yeah.
yeah. So my thoughts on that is it is what's to stop good old Kenny Golden from texting his boy and saying that there's 3 Charizards in there, you should bid on it, or there's no Charizards in there, you shouldn't bid on it. You know, I think it should be known. I think those kinds of things should be made public because then there's no room for nefarious acts of insider quote unquote trading on these things. Because if you know what's inside the box and you know it's a really good box, you might want to tell a couple people and saying, hey, you might want to get this box. That's just
Mhm.
my thoughts on it.
I think I can provide some interesting commentary there. So, and just to like provide my truest thought about CT scanning, like I'm trying to find silver linings. Inherently, I don't like weighing. Inherently, I don't like CT scanning. I don't like piping packs. I wish that there was a world. I wish that we lived in a universe where every time you open one of these packs, you had a true random experience and you had no way of spoiling that randomness. I wish that was the case. Unfortunately, we don't live in that reality. The packs are weighable, the boxes are CT scannable. So, like living in the reality that we're in, uh, let's go down the road on your hypothetical. So say you had 2 base set first edition booster box. Let's go with English because I know the price. I don't know the price
Right.
of
Yeah, and
if
the
that was.
Chinese is a little different, but yeah, let's say in the future that, a first ed box is going through Golden and it was CT scanned. Well, that's a
Mm,
huge box, and there's obviously going to be a few people that know what's inside that box.
yeah, and so mathematically, the odds of having a Charizard are approximately 75%. There's 15 howls that could be in the box. No Machamp, the other 15, and there's 12 howls in the box. So there's roughly 12 out of 15. Not exactly that, but that's roughly. Um, a base set box is like 250 grand. Most times that you pull a base set first edition Charizard, it's going to grade an 8 or a 9. So even in this hypothetical world where you CT scan a box and you find out it has 2 Charizards in it, it's like, okay, so now what? You're going to rip that box and you're going to turn 250 grand into what? 60 grand, 70 grand. You're going to get 2 Charizard, maybe they're PSA 9s, and then you're going to get a bunch of other hollows. Maybe you get a 10 here, maybe you get a 9, a couple 8s. You're still losing money. The only thing you could make the argument, so say you have, pretend these are base first English. Say you have 2 base first boxes. One of them has a Charizard or 2 Charizards, and one of them has none. Like there would still be, even though it's negative EV to open it still with 2 Charizards in it, if I were trying to do a box break, I would rather have the one with Charizards. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, when I sell packs on stream, I want people to win. I want God packs. I want Charizards. I want Snorlaxes, Vaporeons. I want PSA 10s. I want people to grade black labels. The more people win, the more they come back, the more they like, the more shorts I can make, the more advertising I can make. And some people could say, oh, well, Dan's going to reseal some PSA 8 base set Charizards in his base set box. I have no way to prove that I don't do that aside from saying that I don't do that. And I'll never do that. But yeah, that's like my commentary around it. But again, it's IIC and Golden clearly made the choice that they would have somebody vet the box. Is there insider information going on? Does somebody at IIC communicate with somebody at Golden? Does IIC communicate with somebody in the general public that's bidding on that box on Golden? Hey, there's 0 Charizards in there. Hey, there's 2 Charizards in there. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information. I don't have those relationships. If I did, if I knew someone at IIC, I would not engage in that insider trading type. And like, believe me or don't believe me, all I can say is I wouldn't. I'm not doing that. But like, no, like again, that's another thing that I have no way to prove 100% to the world that I don't have that knowledge, that I'm not acting on that knowledge, right? I'm not bidding on that box anyways. But it's one of those
I
sad
just
realities that like there's no way to 100% prove that you're not doing that.
I hope that in the future that we'll just say PSA because they're the biggest company, and I kind of hope that maybe in the future that something like that would scan these boxes and then seal them and make it known what's inside and say that there is 12 hollows. Boom, 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 boom. You know exactly what's in the box. It's labeled authentic PSA, encased in the little plastic, little acrylic. You know, everybody loves their acrylic cases. Why not just put a little PSA little logo on top of it and make it a little thicker? And I don't know.
And that might happen. That might be a reality in the future. And to me, frankly,
Yeah,
it's kind of sad. It's like I wish we lived in this alternate universe where somehow these things could not be determined until they were open. I've been weighing for 10 years. I was weighing packs before weighing was like right now today on vintage packs. Weighing is ubiquitous. People sell heavies, people sell lights. I've always disclosed them as such. If people don't know who I am, go back on E4. I was posting 10 years ago. I used to argue. I used to argue with Gary King Pokemon. He did not like weighing. He did not like it. And my whole take was like, it's happening. I think more people should know that it could happen. I was one of the ones who was like, I'm going to weigh and I'm going to tell people this is heavy, guaranteed hollow, or this is light, guaranteed no hollow. I don't like the fact that weighing is possible, but given that it is, I'm very much on the side of like information is power and everyone should have that power. And same thing when it goes with live streaming. I think people should know. I think what PK did was correct. I think it was correct to educate his following that like, hey guys, be careful out there. Resealing is a thing. I think the people who try to keep that stuff in the dark, and supposedly the CT scanning was like known for years. Supposedly, maybe some of the big sports people were doing it and not telling people, finding the 101s in those metal cases. But like, I'm very much knowledge is power. Let information be spread amongst the people, and then let people decide who they want to do business with and who they don't want to do business with. That's my take.
that would be pretty wild. Those like I think they were like 2020 like flawless cases that were like 20 grand or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what they're worth now, but years ago they even when they first came out they were 20 grand. Like that
Yep.
was what they like retailed for, which is insane. So yeah, I mean, why would you not scan that?
It's a sad reality. I wish we lived in a perfect world where everything was too random and bad people couldn't do bad things like that. But the sad reality is that we live in that, and everything needs to be questioned to some extent. And again, 2 weeks, I'm going to be breaking this. I might be there in person with Ponga. I've not booked my flights yet, but I might be doing it. And if you don't trust enough, if you don't trust me, if you don't trust who I got it from, like, don't bid. If you're not comfortable with it, I never want someone to buy something they're not comfortable buying, whether they don't have the money, whether they don't have the trust, whatever it is. Like, don't engage with it if you can't trust it. And that's all I can tell people to do.
So I guess you were one of the people that kind of brought this to light, and I want to know your thoughts on it because I don't think anybody really has asked you or brought it up to you, or you really said much about it, about PSA changing their grading scale, and how Nat Turner kind of said we've always changed our grading scale, as 60/40 no longer exists for centering PSA, and it was like that for a year apparently. Um, what are your thoughts on that? And I guess what do you think that Is there anything that should happen with that if PSA just was like, well, we're just going to change it now, and sucks for you guys that we're getting shafted on the 60/40 end for a year, or what? I don't.
Yeah. I've been I've been publicly present. I've only had a YouTube for going on 4 years. I've only had an Instagram for about 4 years. I've been on E4 for over a decade now. I registered in 2014. I've been critical of professional grading since 2014. I've had so many threads that I made about their inconsistencies, first in, F off, that whole thing. I have so many issues with grading companies in general. Look at the debacle CGC's in. We talked about it earlier, right? We talked about it at the outset of the prototype cards that are fake. Look at the issues that BGS has had, supposedly insider trading, yada, yada, this and that. All the issues that we've mentioned over like trusting a breaker. A lot of this trust is also required on PSA, on CGC, on BGS. And I think they've proven over and over, all of them in their own unique ways, they have proven that like they're not very competent. They're not very consistent. They're not very uh, professional in many aspects. So like me as a business, I interact with them because it makes me money, because a lot of consumers, regardless of what's going on, whether they are ignorant to it or whether they know it and they just don't care, like the prices are high. So I grade my cards, I sell my cards, and that's that. But I don't like these grading card companies really at all.
Do you think they could be potentially up for a liable, like maybe potentially a lawsuit of, I don't know if what basis necessarily of who would sue or why people would sue or how they could sue, but if that statement is true that they were doing 50 or 55/45 and they had false advertisement on their website, how could that play out? Like, is that potentially a thing that they could be sued for, or is that just something that would be brushed under the rug and nothing could ever happen with that?
I'm not a lawyer. I'll preface with that, so I
Yeah,
have no
I would.
idea how.
Yeah,
But my take as as not a lawyer, my take is that the former standards were so ambiguous and the new standards are similarly so ambiguous. They used to say approximately 55/45 to 60/40, and now they say approximately 55/45. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, they have an asterisk that says that they can be exceeding that too, if the grader says. So I think it's silly of Nat, as a billionaire owner of partial owner of PSA. I think it's silly that he DMs people these kinds of questions and answers and stuff. I think it's silly that he put himself in that position. And
yeah,
but I don't think they're
yeah. Because in a way, he kind
uh
of gave too much information to somebody that
it's just weird that he put himself in that spot, which some people could say, Dan, you run a, I'm not a billionaire, but like I'm running a multi 7-figure business. Dan, it's silly for you to go on live streams and talk about all this kind of stuff, which is actually kind of truthful. Probably it's probably silly for me to be having these conversations about all the risks and potential issues. But that's the way that I am. And maybe Nat would say that's the way that I am. I like talking to my customers. I like talking with people. So I'm going to do it. So to be fair to him.
Yeah, yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, if you have, and who knows, how many people DM him. Maybe there's not that many people. Maybe he's only got 100 DMs a day, and that's not a ton for people to look through. I mean, sure, that's a lot, but if 100 messages of, maybe you only reply to a few, but you look at them all or whatever, so it's, I don't know. Who knows how many messages he gets, but
Mm.
um I just real quick, I want to say thanks to everybody who's hanging out here, because there's definitely some goats that are in this chat. I
Mm-hmm.
see him in almost everybody's lives. Basic, I've met him a couple times in his lives. He's definitely the goat. He's got the longest live stream Pokemon wise out of anybody, so he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore for sure. Wade G, I know he's one of my subscribers. I appreciate him being here. KYK is one of your boys. Nice to see him. Skater Nesto, he's got a nice little podcast. He's one of them spicy boys. It's good to see him here. The Green Shiz, I met him out in Chicago. He's got a great YouTube channel. I love him and Professor Oak. Professor Oak, fun fact, was actually my first subscriber on this channel, and he brought me to actually make my YouTube videos. So shout out to Professor Oak. Retrospects is in the chat. I know he's makes his rounds everywhere. He supplies you with a lot of your product, Japanese wise. Mr. Walrus, he's live chat goat. He's trolling everybody, everywhere, every place, every time. So he's always there getting his 2 cents in. We got Coronado Studios in here. I appreciate him being here. He's one of my boys. Happy Camper Products. Good to see him as well. And yeah, I just appreciate everybody here tuning in. Dan, I appreciate your time because I know you have a business that you run, you have a family. So I appreciate you again for being here. And I think this has been a good conversation. I definitely have had a good time with you. So I hope you had the same as well with me. But I just wanted to shout out some people, and I appreciate everybody being here. So.
Yeah, I very much appreciate you having me on too. Everyone, their time is their most valuable resource, and I thank you for valuing mine, and I appreciate you for sharing me some of your time as well.
Yep, definitely. I mean, I like to talk to people. So and especially when it's Pokemon, I don't really talk to people in my personal life too much about Pokemon deep down. So it's a lot of listening. So whenever I can spout off some nonsense, I like to get my little take in there. So.
Yeah, I have a couple old high school friends that are actually getting into. I sold some Crown Zenith packs. I have a couple people in real life that are getting into it, talking about grading, talking about what set to buy, this, that. But nobody that I can get down these rabbit holes about CT scanning, nobody that I can get down the rabbit holes of pack weighing and this and that and live stream trustworthiness, and it's all very interesting to talk about.
I do have a Pokemon group chat with a couple of my cousins, but they're definitely not down the weeds like I am. So it's definitely nice to talk to somebody that knows a little bit more than just the prismatic ETBs might be in Target or whatever, So it's kind of nice to pick somebody's brain that has quite a bit of knowledge. So. You do other things than Pokemon. You're hoping to get into coins. I know you do Steins and stuff like that. More so, just kind of like personally collecting stuff like that. But when you do coins, are you mostly as like a coin collector? Do you like to do like I don't know. I guess it's not. I don't know if it's sets or whatever. But are you more so as like the investor coin? Into coins.
So I started with coins back in like middle school, high school-ish. One of my grandpas actually got me into it a little bit. He gave me a little box of like his old coinage. He was alive and he was around spending mercury dimes, spending wheat pennies, spending a lot of this old US type coinage, and I was mostly engaging it as a collector. But then similarly to how I did it in Pokemon, I found the best way to collect was collecting for free by buying more than I wanted, selling off the excess that I didn't want, and keeping what I wanted for free. So I did that. It snowballed. And I did nearly the first year that I did 6 figures on eBay was actually in 2011, 2012, somewhere in there, I believe, or really close to 6 figures. It was back when silver went to about $50 an ounce, that silver bubble that happened. But yeah, my favorite things are mercury dimes. My favorite things are walking half dollars, walking Liberty half dollars, Morgan dollars, peace dollars, all that kinds of stuff. All the old US type coinage.
Okay. So you like the quote unquote, you would say then the junk silver.
Yep. Yeah. And I used to have the Whitman folders. I used to have the blue. I still have them. I still
So do
have
you
the
like
blue folders that you fill by year, by mint, the D, the S, the different mintages, mint
do you
marks.
like your coins graded, or are you not into that?
So growing up, I was always just doing them in the Whitman folders. I was always just doing raw coins, not slab coins. And I would have to look back. I could probably pull it up right now. I did my first grading submission with Annex. So if anyone knows coins, PSA is our big grader for Pokemon cards, right? They own or they're owned by collectors owns PCGS. So PSA is to PCGS, and then NGC is the same people as CGC. So our same two major grading card companies in cards have sister companies, or whatever you'd call them, in coins. But I graded with, like, I don't even know who they'd be equivalent to. I think Anax was an ANACS. I believe they were the first grading coin grading company. I think they predated PCGS. I think they predated NGC. So I think I did one submission ever to them. I've never submitted to NGC. I've never submitted to PCGS. But I remember the coin I submitted. I still remember the first cards that were in my first PSA submission, and I still remember the first coin that was in my first professional coin grading submission. And it was a 1916D Mercury dime, which, if anyone knows Mercury dimes, that's like the key date. It was a
And
few
I'm
$100
assuming you
dime.
don't have it still, do you?
I don't still have it. Nope. I flipped it.
Yeah, typical Dan, right?
The thing is, I graded it to learn about the grading, learn about the scales, and I'm like, man, I just made like $100 on this coin. Let me sell it and let me buy a raw 1916D that's in similar condition, and then just put that one in my Whitman folder.
Yeah, fair enough. Downgrade, make some money. Yeah, I like coins. I would say I'm the opposite of you. I do it more so as an investment. I kind of like the gold and more of the expensive kind of coin. I like the quarter ounce coins. One, because I feel like I get the most bang for my buck. It's just I don't necessarily find myself spending a whole uh, chunk of change on an ounce. And I also like the coins, so I'll like kind of diversify. I have like a bunch of like different coins that I have some that have like a tiger on it. Some I would go grab them. They're over there in my case, but I don't want to get up. But I have some that have like there's a fox, a polar bear, a couple eagles. I have the old eagle, the new eagle, and it's just kind of fun, like collecting the different types of like Canadian, like, and things like that that have different animals, like the kookaburra. I think I don't know if I have that gold, but I have a silver kookaburra, and just it's kind of fun to just collect different animals and like things like that.
I do some of the different. I don't really do. I have a little bit of like rounds. So there's rounds, which is just like a 1 ounce private mint silver. You might have a jam bullion round. You might have a APMEX. You might have some of the different
The
big bullion dealers.
buffaloes.
Yep, and then there's the government silver, which Toronto has, or Canada has the maple leaf, and the U.S. has the eagle, and as you mentioned, the Australian kookaburra, the Fiji taku. I don't know if you have the turtle one. That one's cool. I have the Krugerrand. Krugerrand's one of the African nations, I
Yeah, it
believe.
has like is that the I don't know if it's an antelope or something on it or
Yeah, but I so for silver, not for gold, but for silver, I have a decent collection of like a tour of the world, each one of the Chinese panda, the yuan, and some of them, the government ones, are actually legal tender. You would never spend them because the intrinsic value of the metal is worth more than the face value of the currency. But it's interesting because those are technically legal tender. You could go and you could take a 1 ounce silver eagle, and you could go buy something with it at the store. Like, they would have to, they probably wouldn't know. Most cashiers would be like, what is this thing? This guy's trying to spend fake money. But like, technically they are legal tender, which is pretty interesting.
do you have any of the Marvel ones?
I have like a New York Rangers one from when they won the Stanley Cup. I have like a 93-94 New York Rangers one. I have a commemorative one for the Mets when they won the World Series in 86. But other than that, I don't have Provident. Provident Metals made a series called the
You know what?
like a zombie apocalypse series. So I don't know if you ever heard of those, but like they made the walking $half. They made it reimagined into a 1 ounce silver round, and they made the Morg Ann instead of a Morgan dollar. They made the Morg Ann. It was like a Morgan dollar, but turned into like a zombie skeleton type thing. They were pretty cool. So I do
Here's
have
just
some
a
of the Provident Metals
couple of the
zombie.
silver ones. Here's a Yu-Gi-Oh one. Can't
Nice.
really see much of it, but I thought these were kind of fun, like a Yu-Gi-Oh 25th anniversary silver coin, an ounce of silver with Yu-Gi-Oh on it. I thought that was pretty sweet.
I don't
I
know
don't
if you've
know.
seen these, but I do have these. I bought PSA graded, but like the new way. So
Oh,
these are actually legal tender and new way.
yep.
Um, I have a Charmander. I have it's like all the starters.
Yeah, New Way does some weird things like this. This one's from New Way, a Darth Vader.
Yep.
So it's just kind of like they do like funny things, like here's a Venom, and they're just cool to like collect. I feel like so I have kind of quite a bit of those,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
I like.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say before I was on E4, before I was down in the weeds and the rabbit holes in the trading card space, I used to be on the Kitco forums. I used to be on talking about silver and gold with all these preppers, with all these stackers. I actually know a lot of like hardcore doomsday preppers that live around me. They have bunkers, they have a bunch of ammunition, they have a bunch of like canned food stored and freeze dried
Into
food and
Kiyosaki, I think is his name, is whatever.
yeah, the rich dad poor dad guy.
Yeah, that's kind of his story is crazy. That he had like a gold mine that got seized in China. As he's got a pretty crazy story. I'm gonna throw this out there. If anybody wants this Sea and Sky code, it's all you. Um, but yeah, those New Way things are pretty sweet. My girlfriend and I like to travel. I know you were talking about how you and your wife want to travel around the United States and hit every state, which is a pretty cool goal. That's a goal that I also want to hit. I like to do national parks and stuff like that. So one of my lifelong goals is to hit up all the national parks and things like that. So maybe in the future when we're both old and traveling around in our campers, maybe we'll come across each other in one of these states or something.
We're actually talking about it's our 10th wedding anniversary this year. We might do a national park to simultaneously cross off a new state and then also start. I don't know that we'll do all the national parks, but we did our honeymoon in Alaska and we got to go to Denali. We got to go to Kenai Fjords. I don't even know how to say it, but we got to go to like some cool different national parks in Alaska. Did you ever get into those America the Beautiful? They made those. They call them pucks, like 5-ounce silver pucks with the all the different national parks on them. So you probably remember. Most people in here probably remember from 1999 to 2008. Every year they released 5 new states. The statehood quarters. I feel like most people know about the statehood quarters, but once they finished the statehood quarters, they actually went and they did the America the Beautiful series of quarters, and then they also did a 5-ounce silver round commemorative puck uh, for each national park.
Oh, I don't know where mine went. No, but I have these, which I find kind of cool. They're they're not gold or silver. They're like knockoff fake stuff, but I collect these as well sometimes when I go to the national parks. Like this one is Mammoth National Cave, and it's just like a bunch of coins. Like this one is the Pikes Peak, and like they're just kind of like cool stuff. So like I got a bunch of these coins as well. So like whenever I go to a national park or something, like this one is Colorado Springs Garden of the Gods. So like I have a bunch of like different like things like that just to kind of like commemorate like where I've been and stuff like that. So it's kind of like fun to collect those as well.
One thing I contemplated doing was every time I visit a new national park, buying like the 5-ounce silver round to commemorate that trip. But they're kind of expensive. Some of them are really expensive. The ones that are more
I'll have to
scarce, the
look
ones
for
that
those because I've actually never seen that or heard of that. So I'll have to.
yeah, they're I'm looking at it right now on eBay. You can buy like a random one, kind of like a grab bag, a mystery one for like $200. It's like 200, but it's 5 ounces of silver. What's silver spot price right now? I don't even know.
I think it's like 33.
So it's a pretty hefty premium. It's like a 25% premium over the actual melt value. But they're pretty neat. I've owned them before. So in my flipping ventures years ago, I came across some and I ended up selling them on, but I don't currently own any right now.
I guess those are kind of like some of the topics I had for you. I don't know. I guess we've kind of like covered a lot of the quote unquote drama in the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Anything good going on in the hobby?
Tons of good things going on. I think sometimes people will lose sight of the fact that we are all in this era. I always say we're all in the same arena.
Thoughts
We're
on
all in this
Metazoo.
hobby.
Let's get it. The chat has been going crazy for Metazoo this whole time,
I've
and
seen
we haven't
I've seen
even
a bunch of
mentioned it.
Metazoo. Let me go where I was going on the Pokemon thing, but like I think a lot of times it's just part of humanity. The drama llamas get out there, they take hold of us, and we get sucked into all these different things, finding our differences and fighting over them and arguing over them. I think this stream is kind of like a good show towards what can. Hey, we have an agreement. We had some disagreement that we started on, and then out of it, an hour later, we're nerding out about our coin collections. We're nerding out about, like, you learned about some new 5-ounce rounds of these national parks. We learned that we have similar goals to see all the states and national parks. And so finding our common grounds and then like talking and enjoying those spaces is a good thing to do. We got Brad here, number one drama llama in
Yeah,
the chat.
and I mean, I'm one also too. I'm kind of in a way that I'm glad this did happen. Is one, I wanted to meet you again. We briefly met, but this is a way to kind of like break the ice and kind of in a way get to know each other. And maybe if we do meet again, it's a little bit of a different interaction than just like, oh, hey, nice to meet you or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
kind of I'm kind of I like I said, I watch you a lot all the time, and it's just like hours of listening to this guy. It's like I got to talk to this guy finally. So it's like, so
Yeah. To get like sappy and stuff. I think it would be a shame if our last interaction was me with my red lights on and like, here are our differences. Let's do this over our differences. I like to think like I'm not a very political person. I'm not a very religious person, but I am family with a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, a lot of people who have a lot of different faiths. And I think sometimes it's kind of sad. Sometimes people will be like, we disagree here. All of our interactions will live where we have where we butt heads, and that's where relationships will just entirely fall apart. And instead, it's like, okay, maybe we don't talk about certain topics, maybe we fundamentally disagree on certain things, but we are both human beings. We both have things that we can share joy in together, and that's a little bit too sappy, too mushy. But I think it's like a good thing to get to after like where this live stream started. I like it. I think it's a good place. And
yeah,
in that,
I'd agree
I don't
with
know if
that.
you have anything else to add to that, but talking about Metazoo now, a very dramatic, a very contentious thing. Let's roll from Poke drama right into Metazoo drama. But I really enjoyed Metazoo. I don't know if you engaged with it a ton personally, but I'm excited for it to come back. I plan on starting to make more videos on my channel in the future. I used to do what I called Metazoo Saturdays. So I'm like Mr. Consistent Dan. Every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, you know that there's going to be a Pokemon video. Metazoo Saturdays is not like every Saturday. For a stretch, maybe it was like a few Saturdays in a row, but I will just sporadically. Maybe if I had to guess, in 2025, I might make like 6 or 8 Metazoo Saturday videos, but I'm going to make one in the next couple weeks talking about the fact that I intend on pre-ordering it. I'm going to try live streaming it. I don't know if the demand will be there. I don't know if it'll work. Like we talked earlier about, hey Dan, how do you buy at 80% and then sell and make margin on Metazoo? I might not be able to. I might try it and I might fail and I might lose money, but I want to give it a go. And that's a little bit about my thoughts, my take on Metazoo, my plan. What's your experience with the original Metazoo? What are your thoughts on like the new one? Where are you at on that?
I mean, was definitely an outsider. I obviously know about Metazoo. I was so full transparency with me. I got engaged with the hobby a little bit before COVID, but COVID really picked up me like engaging in YouTube and stuff like that, mostly through Pokenomics and things like that. So I was around when Metazoo first started. Kind of like I kind of shied away just because a lot of it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth of how like it was compared to Pokemon. It was promoted by YouTubers, and it was kind of just like in a way uh, unorganic demand, in my opinion. So like I didn't want to dive in. I have a couple Metazoo cards. I live in Wisconsin, Green Bay, so O'Connell Falls Dragon is something that I thought was kind of cool. So I have a couple of those. I have like the promo and I don't know another card. Um, there's actually a UFO box at one of my local coin stores. Actually, they have a couple like Pokemon products, and there's a UFO box that they've been sitting on for what probably 2 years now, and I think they have it priced. I think it's priced. I don't know if it's $29.99 or $39.99 or whatever, but I feel like one of these days I'm just gonna go there and just ask them if they'll take $20 for it to take it off their hands, and I'll be a Metazoo investor when I come home with my UFO box. But
Yeah.
other than that, I really don't have much Metazoo. I might engage a little bit of it. I was actually going to engage a little bit more of like buying a Mothman card. I was actually bidding on a couple, and I just ended up not winning them. PSA 9 Mothman hollows, and I'm kind of I don't know where the market is on those, but I'm kind of glad I didn't win that in a way, just because I don't know how I would even sell it, if there's even a market still for those types of Metazoos. I'm sure Mothman has a market, but um, I didn't buy too much. I have two cards and that's it. So, but I do actually plan on possibly engaging in Metazoo as it comes out, depending on the price point of these booster boxes and things like that. That's all it comes down to is price point. So.
Yeah, so I am in with distribution. They are actually up and available for pre-order right now. I've not finalized exactly how many I'm going to do, but I'm going to do a pre-order. I'm going to put in my pre-order tomorrow. I don't know if pre-orders are going to be first come, first serve. I don't know if they have a finite amount that they've been allocated. And then I don't know if allocations are going to happen. I'm going to put in like a pretty big number, though. I was very public with my involvement with Metazoo in the past. I will be public about my involvement with Metazoo in the future. But I used to buy 500 boxes of every set. I used to spend about $50,000 every time a new set came out. Looks like right now, as of what I see, like I don't know if they're going to have theme decks out of the gate. The only thing I see on my distributor website is the booster box. So
I kind of hope
I
you send all your Metazoo to PK and make him rip it.
I still haven't fully had the conversations with PK and Ponga, so I'm not going to say exactly what I'm going to do with that. What I have a
It might
vision.
be. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you or anything, but that might
Oh
be
no, you're
something
fine.
that you could. I know you're kind of trying to stay away from that, but maybe something fun of you just ripping that for people if you want it or whatever.
It probably won't be me. I'm not trying to be the name or the face of any part of the live stream operation, but I haven't had full talks with PK and Ponga, so I don't want to say too much because this information would involve them. But I have a certain vision of how I see it playing out on which platform with which potential streamer. But I haven't had the full conversation with my two streamers right now, so I don't want them to hear about something first from a live stream with someone else, right? I want to have that conversation with them and get their thoughts before I make a full decision on that.
So, are you able to share what prices as distribution for Metazoo?
It's low 60s. So I will share. I'm not going to show it because I think it's a little bit weird. Like, I don't think the distributors like you to show exactly what the information is. But what I see right now, it is a pre-order for a Metazoo base set booster display. The OG Metazoo, so I have some behind me, like Cryptid Nation first edition. This was a 36 pack box, very similar to Pokemon. This is actually a 24 pack box. So I can buy it for the low 60s. And I believe the distribution price for original Metazoo used to be like in the 70s. I was a partner. I'll share all the information about original Metazoo because like they're gone, right? So who cares? I used to pay 56 a box. I used to pay MSRP was 140 and partner pricing was was 40% of MSRP. So I used to pay $56 a box as a partner. They had MAP for a while. I used to have to sell for 140, and then a couple weeks after the release, I could sell for 112. But yeah, this one it's low 60s, and it's a 24 count box, and there are 12 in a case. So instead of a six box case with 36 packs in each like Pokemon, it is a 24 count box with 12 per case. So what's that work out to math wise? In a case, there are 288 packs instead of in Pokemon, there's 216 packs in a case. And one interesting thing that is news to me as well, just the other day when this came out, but it says on it, inside the base set booster display box, 24 base set booster packs per display box, possibility to pull an alternate art display box illustrated by Metazoo artist Poncho. So if anyone remembers original Metazoo, Native had not like a chase, but they had 4 different booster box styles. Unfortunately, I only have one on hand right now, but they had this art and they had 3 additional artworks for the Native booster box. Apparently they have like the base box with the base art, and you have a possibility to pull an alternate art box. And I don't know what the rarity of that would be. I don't know if that would have special things inside of it or if it's the same things inside of it. But yeah, this is all the information the distributor gives. So this is all that I have. And I see
So that
basically
would
asking
put
what's
a
MSRP. This doesn't show me an MSRP. But like when I buy Pokemon from this distributor, they usually show MSRP. But in this instance, they're not showing an MSRP for the Metazoo product, which is interesting.
with the chance at a quote unquote alternate art box, that would put a premium on the cases then, because I mean, if you had, a loose box, I mean, you're obviously not going to sell the whatever. Like, say you specifically, you're selling these Metazoo boxes for, let's say, whatever, $70. You're going to open up all the cases, and you're not going to send the alternate art one for $70. So it's like, in a way, it does put that premium on that case of another potentially a aspect of gambling of, well, now that I could make all my money back with this alternate art box or whatever.
Yeah, and then one next question that I would have, and I don't know the answer to it, but Metazoo, the original one, they were 36 pack per box, but they came 12 to a case. And inside of a case of 12, there were 2 inner boxes, like mini cases with 6 boxes in each. So is new Metazoo going to be one 12 box unit that like once you open it, you see all 12 boxes? Or will it be 2 mini cases of 6? Like I have no idea, but it'll be interesting to see what it is when it comes out. I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited. One thing I liked about Metazoo is that I'm so ingrained in Pokemon, and Pokemon has the whole dynamic where it comes out in Japan first and then it comes out in the US. I was genuinely excited when I got this. I opened my first boxes having no clue what I was chasing. I hope to get that again with Metazoo. I loved that there were very minimal spoilers, and I love that I went into the opening process just completely like seeing everything for the first time. I think that's exciting.
I wish they put the print runs though. I think that was something beneficial that Metazoo had going for them, in my opinion.
I liked it too because coming from coins, the 1916B, you knew how many were manufactured, you knew how many were minted. Even the America the Beautiful bullion that we talked about earlier, they tell you print runs, they tell you mintages for each one of those things. One thing that I've heard speculated that I have no idea. People speculate that Metazoo was lying about print runs. I have no idea if they were or weren't. It's one of those things that like, could they 100% like even if they showed the invoices from their distributors or from their printers, it's like who's to say they didn't have another invoice that they're not showing you? So it's one of those things that like no one could ever sufficiently prove what
Yeah.
were their
One thing
$2,500.
nice about Marvel boxes, sorry to cut you off. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine.
One thing nice about Marvel boxes is that they have like a kind of like a tamper proof sticker on it, and they'll
That's
have
serialized.
the serial number on it. Yeah,
Yep.
which is pretty cool as a collector. Like, I feel like those are types of things that you want in a product.
Yeah, I really liked it, but I also do see, and I've made Metazoo videos in the past, and I used to like the hollow boxes. I don't know if this box is hollow or not. I can't tell from the picture, but I kind of hope it is. And if it's not, maybe the alt art one is. If there are alt art boxes that are hollow and regular ones that are non-hollow, I'll probably try to include with my Metazoo 1 collection. I'll try to have a Metazoo 2 collection of one of every alternate art box. Like I just, as a collector, that is something that I will enjoy. That is something that I will chase. I guess as a business in the space, buying hundreds of boxes at a time, I'll have a decent advantage towards trying to get one of each alternate art to put back into my collection, right? But no, I'm excited in so many different ways. I'm excited to see what Charlie and GQL are doing with all of it.
I feel like a couple things in the chat are going on. So MSRP is $125, so it's $5 a pack, which, in my opinion, I think is pretty high for something that's, you don't really know what the resale value is on these things. So I don't know. I feel like you're kind of like, if you're consuming Metazoo early on, you're kind of uh, throwing yourself in the risk of maybe just, just throwing your money away in a way, just because you have no
Absolutely. Yeah, there's risk that this might not take off. There's risk that there could be a second bankruptcy.
idea, like, because you're potentially paying more for Metazoo than Pokemon, where Pokemon is completely
What
hot right now.
One thing though, like MSRP is, it's not entirely arbitrary, but it's fairly arbitrary because like for years and years and years, Pokemon MSRP was 140, 144, and most boxes sold for 100. So if MSRP for Metazoo is 120, and I can see that I'm gonna buy it for low 60s,
Yeah,
I have a reason to believe that like
people are
P
going to sell
Football
it for
Pete,
$70. Yeah,
yeah, like P Football Pete and similar, they might sell it for $79.99. They might sell it for $74.99. Which, if it
yeah,
was $71.99, that would be $3 a pack even. So we don't know what value the secondary market will attribute to it. But like I agree, like $5 per pack higher than Pokemon MSRP. That feels risky. That feels kind of high in some ways, and everyone should be cautious. I know Greeny was asking earlier. He's like, should I invest in $80 pre-orders? And Dan, being the guy that he is, talking about 401ks and IRAs and buckets, and I never advise anyone to invest in cardboard of any kind. And Metazoo, coming out of bankruptcy, is inherently more risky than Pokemon, which has been around for 25, 30 years, right? So know what you're getting into, go in with a fixed budget, go in with like knowing the risks, as you should with anything.
yeah. Like I said, I'll be dabbling in Metazoo just depending on the price point. If I'm not able to get it for, let's say, I don't know, under $80, I probably won't pick up a box. But if it's around that price from the start, yeah, I might grab a box or two just for fun. Just, I mean, I think if I was able to get in early on the, like, Metazoo first edition, like, I would have done the same thing. Like how I'm looking at it now, like, just depending on the price point, yeah, it's a good time to get in. So
Yeah, everyone, whether it's Pokemon, whether it's buying a new car, whether it's milk or eggs, you
right,
should have a
it's all
certain
about
price that
price point.
you, yeah, it's like I'm a buyer of eggs at, I love eggs. I don't know about you, but that's one of the things like in the news lately, people are scalping eggs or whatever going on. I don't think that's happening around me, but I've seen videos of people like fighting, like they're like they're fighting over 151, but they're fighting for eggs.
I don't do the
Around
grocery
me,
shopping here, so I don't know, but I don't think people are scalping eggs around where I live, but you
I
never
feel
know.
I've seen a couple of videos where people are like going in, grabbing a bunch, filling carts. I don't know the
I've seen
stories
a
behind them.
video of giant carts of eggs, and yeah, yeah, it's
Around me, no one's doing that, but they are a fair bit more expensive. And like I'm a buyer of eggs when if they're $2 or $3 for 18, I'm consuming the same amount. If they go to 10 for 18, if they're 50 cents a piece, 9 for 18, I guess. I'm still a buyer. I love eggs. We eat a fair bit of eggs in that Ketchum household. So but if they went to 20, if they went to 50, at some point I'm gonna stop buying eggs. At some point, like everyone's got to have their price for everything. What's it worth to you? Don't pay more than that. Buy it if it's less than that. Like that's what I'm gonna do with Metazoo. That's what I do with my eggs. That's what I do with everything.
they're gonna have to start making Beyond eggs.
Yeah. Wade Jesus, buy high, sell low.
Well, I mean, we can end up wrapping this up here. We can keep going for a little bit if you want. I'm open for whatever you want to do here, Dan.
I see whatever you want to do. I'm down to hang out. I'm
Yeah,
down to wrap
basics.
up.
Wondering if you're heading to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I was gonna use that to well, one, ask you if you're going to that one. I do plan to go there. I haven't booked it yet, so it's not 100%, but I'll say
I
it's
am not
95% plus. And if you're not going to Fort Lauderdale, are there any collecticons you're like definitely going to, or any
Chicago.
ones you're
I'll be
eyeing?
at both Chicago's.
Are those the only ones, or are those like
Most
the only
likely, just
definites?
because I'll be driving. I don't necessarily have any plans on flying to any collecticons, so it's probably just that one, or potentially maybe Kansas City, but it would probably just be Chicago.
How far is Chicago for you?
It's about a 3 hour drive.
Cleveland wouldn't, or is it like Cleveland would probably be
I
drivable for
think
you too?
Cleveland's about 6 hours for where I live.
Cleveland's like 6 for me. I think we're gonna turn Cleveland into like a family trip. We might do either on the way or on the way back. I'm not sure, but we might do Niagara Falls. So we're gonna go to the convention, and then a few days afterwards or a few days before we'll do Niagara Falls. But I think Chicago. I know so many people. I have so many friends in Chicago, but neither of them work well for my schedule. I've not committed 100%, but I know Retro's been in the chat. I know a bunch of Chicagoans like Walrus have been in the chat. I want to do both Card Party Seattle or Card Party Washington, whatever it is. But then the week after that is Chicago. I can't really do back to back. I can't do both. So I have to choose between one or the other. I've done Chicago already. I've never done a card party. So like I think I'm gonna end up picking Card Party West over Chicago in the fall. And then in the spring, I know Chicago, there's an April one. I can't do that one because we have a Cub Scout outing, me and my son. So I've already signed up for before the Collecticon schedule came out. We were planning. It's like an overnight stay on a decommissioned battleship. Actually, it's gonna be like a cool event that my son's been excited about for a while. So I can't bail on him over that. But I think
Oh,
in two
that
weeks,
sounds cool. That sounds like
I'm excited for it. But
a good
in two
bonding
weeks,
experience.
I might go to Chicago for Pokemon Day. So it's like that's gonna be my one Chicago trip for the year, likely. And there's a chance that I pick Chicago over Card Party West. But if Retro has anything to say about it, I presume he'll want me to go to that one. Then you'll have Nick and you'll have Ponga and you'll have other people like, no, come to Chicago, forget Card Party.
Yeah,
But
I wanna travel. Like fly to some of these conventions eventually in the future. I don't necessarily have plans for it this year, considering
mm,
that there is two Chicago Collecticons. I think that's for me. That's kind of like a good amount.
yeah,
I do a lot of like kind of like localer shows in my area, so, and I find that to be quite satisfying. The Madison and Milwaukee area shows are pretty decently sized, and I've kind of been making it a habit to go into those regularly, and it's kind of nice because then you can kind of like meet people and get faces. And one thing that I found kind of cool was I did find and saw a lot of those people in Chicago as well. So it's kind of cool that you're able to see people and at these conventions, and it's nice to get a rapport back when you're meet people multiple times and things like that. So I do want to be able to branch out and expand a little bit and
mm,
kind of go to these other things outside of my area. And
yeah,
uh, it's cool. It's a cool experience. Chicago was a blast. Meeting a lot of people. I met a ton of people in Chicago. Professor Birch was awesome to meet. He extended his olive branch to me and told me to come out to eat with them guys. And met Java, Green Shiz, Beerski, a bunch of cool guys in Chicago. So it was awesome just to meet everybody. So I want to continue those experiences and continue growing and continue like engaging with the same people and things like that, and meeting other people as well. So I do want to continue to travel.
Yeah, my favorite part of the hobby is engaging with it with the other people in it, and I love that my kids are getting into it. I love earlier today, Mega Tyranitar raids are still going on. We went out to dinner. We raided the Mega Tyranitar as a family. We've been doing the community days together, going to the events, playing a kickball game with all the people that I talk to in the Discord chats, all the people that I see their Instagram stories and watch their YouTube channels, and it's my favorite part of the business of the hobby is engaging with other people that share that same passion.
Yeah, I mean that's why I drive 2 hours to go to these card shows is to kind of engage with these people and engage with in the hobby is because I find it fun and then I can
Mm-hmm.
come home and I make YouTube videos now on it and I find that enjoyable and people watch it and they find it enjoyable. So like it's just it's kind of like it's a different aspect to the hobby because it's more so of the people and I'm weird because in my day-to-day life and like when I'm at work and when I'm working out at the gym it's like I don't want to talk to anybody, like leave me the hell alone, like don't talk to me, like you know. But when I'm in my element with Pokemon, it's like I love talking to people, I love engaging with
Mm-hmm.
people, so it's like it's totally different. It's kind of a fun aspect in that way because like I'm a different person in my element, so it's kind of yeah, it's just it's fun.
Yeah, it's just a built-in icebreaker. It's like if you run into a random person at the gym, it's like, what are you going to talk about? Oh, the weather's nice. Oh, the weather's bad. It's like you're going to talk about all those surface level, small talk type things. But when you go to a convention, you know everyone's there for their shared love of Pokemon. What's your favorite Pokemon? What's your favorite set? Who do you collect? What are you investing in? What are you like? What are you doing for your business? There's just that built-in, not surface level. It's not small talk. There's that built-in like big talk that you can have with people over what their passions are, what their business is, what their goals are, and it just makes it so much easier to get to know people through the shared love.
Yeah, and everybody's on a different journey and different path. You know, people have a business, people have it for fun, people, you know, have it for business and fun. Like everybody is all in it for different reasons. And, you know, I like to consider myself as a collector, investor, and also now a reseller in a way. So it's like I'm all aspects of the hobby and I find that enjoyable. It took
Mm-hmm.
me a while to actually break the ice on selling part of my collection because for a while I was just kind of like accumulating and now it's now that I have a lot of stuff, it's like it's okay to get rid of things, especially when you're up on them. And the stuff that you're not up on, well, then those are the things that you should sit on and like enjoy those because like you buy things because you like them. You didn't buy it just because you just to buy it, you know.
Mm. Yep.
But yeah, we will hopefully meet again in the future. Whether it's this year, next
It could
year.
be fall Chicago, but I'm leaning towards Card Party. I guess to just elaborate on the other ones I'm going to in case anyone is listening and cares or might cross paths with them. But I'm planning on Fort Lauderdale. Metazoo release is the same weekend. So that's March 28th weekend, I believe. I'm probably going to be in Chicago, even though it's not a convention. I'm probably going to be in Chicago in 2 weeks for Pokemon Day for this. And then New
Oh, you're gonna
Jersey
be in
and
Chicago
Cleveland.
for 2 weeks?
No, in
Oh,
2 weeks from now,
oh,
2 weeks
okay,
from
okay.
today on
Oh,
Pokemon Day.
okay.
I'll probably just be there for like a night or two. I'll probably stay Thursday night and Friday night and then leave fairly early Saturday. But I'm excited for that. I'll see Ponga, maybe I'll see Nick, maybe I'll see Walrus, maybe I'll see a handful of people. It's so hard because it's like it'll be
How
a
close?
relatively quick
Do you
trip.
know how close they live? Like, obviously, you don't need to dox them or anything like that, but like, I know they both live in the Chicago city area. Like, how close are they?
I'm not good with like where the bounds on Chicago exactly are. I think Walrus and Nick are both within 45 minutes from the city. I want to say Ponga's like an hour-ish from the city. But what some people call the city, some people say, oh no, that's a suburb, that's this area. I don't know anything about like the
Do
bounds of
Walrus and Nick
Chicago,
live
and
together?
they don't live together, but they
Okay,
live close. They live close to each other. I've never been to Walrus's house, but I've been to Nick's house.
because I know Nick just recently moved there.
Yep. Yeah, I caught him on his way out. He drove and then he flew back and he drove a U-Haul. Well, he drove a U-Haul out and then he flew back and he drove his car out. And we met at the local casino to me both times and lost money. I think he won once, but I lost money both times. But yeah, I plan on doing so Chicago. Not Chicago. I plan on doing Fort Lauderdale, and then I'm gonna do Cleveland and New Jersey in the summer. I'm gonna plan on trying to make those like a family trip, do like a week-long thing, and add Niagara Falls and maybe add like Hershey Park to New Jersey or something. And then I'm also going to do Charlotte, and I'm gonna do Card Party West. I'm gonna do Card Party Washington, whatever they're calling it, and then that'll probably be all my events for the year.
You went to New Jersey last year, correct?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, there was only one New Jersey last year. I think I'll be going
Is it the
to
same
the. I'll be
convention
going.
center?
I think it's the same. I believe. Yeah, it's a weird like in an industrial park. It's I'm not
Is it?
positive it's the same one.
I heard it wasn't the greatest venue wise. I'm just curious on. I mean, I could ask other people as well, but I'm just curious on like how is the convention like even close to like New York City or no?
It's within half an hour probably. I don't
Okay.
remember exactly how
So
far
like
it was, but
if you went there and made it like a quote unquote vacation, you'd be able to like do
oh yeah,
like New York
yeah,
City area and all that.
because that's what we did. It was actually last year. It was like a little family trip we did. We went to the American Dream Mall, which is in like East Rutherford, New Jersey. It's in that same complex area where like Giants Jets Stadium is, and that's right across the water from the city. So I think that was like 30 or 40 minutes from the convention center. So
Do you know
you're
what
pretty close. You're within an
dates
hour.
New Jersey is?
Um,
Oh
so
yeah,
so there's two of them. There's a November one, which I don't think I'll do. It's like the week before Thanksgiving, and then there's also a July one, I believe. Yeah, November 22nd to 23rd, and then there's also July 12th to 13th. So I'll be doing the July 12th to 13th one.
okay. Yeah, maybe. That's something that I was thinking about is New Jersey because one, I feel like Beer Ski Palooza would be dope to go to. So
Mm,
that would be something that I would consider. But that does come close to Fourth of July, and I know I have
it
something
does, yeah.
planned for Fourth of July this year. So that would
Yep.
have to just plan out how the you know
So,
how life
so I,
happens.
yeah, I plan on doing Cleveland and New Jersey, and it's Cleveland June 28th to June 29th, and then it's New Jersey July 12th to July 13th, and then 4th of July in the middle. So it's like I was talking to my
Those
wife
are
earlier
busy.
tonight.
Yeah.
Actually, it's gonna be a hectic stretch, but it's summer for them, so we'll probably try to make two trips around them. Hopefully, we'll see.
You got grandparents that can watch too, right?
They love taking the kids, but these ones will probably take the kids with us for these ones, and the grandparents will just be stuck with the dog. But they love taking the dog too. They love taking their grandpuppy.
So I guess I just want to ask you like a personal question and then we can kind of maybe just wrap it up here.
Mm.
What does Dan do outside of the Pokemon hobby? What is your like I guess you can say something you do for fun and then something you do because you have to do.
Mm. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but like I'm not a huge gamer, but like RuneScape, I've played RuneScape off and on for such a long portion of my life. It's crazy. Just like Pokemon, it's like so much of what I do today is just nostalgia from 20 years ago. So I play some RuneScape. I used to I was very into sports, and it's hard when a pandemic hits. It's hard when you have kids during that time too. I and my wife, we used to be in an adult kickball league. We used to play pickup softball with a bunch of my cousins, and now everyone has kids, so it's harder. I would love to get back into stuff like that a little bit. My kids both play soccer right now. My daughter just got into dance. My son just got into Cub Scouts. But like so much of what I do is obviously once you have kids, like focused around the kids now. And that's the way I love it to be. So I want to travel more with them in the future. I want to watch them grow up the same way that I did, being hopefully engaged in athletics. But if they're not super engaged in athletics, I did a few years of Cub Scouts. But just recently, it was this past Sunday. My son won his age range for the Pinewood Derby. If anyone did Cub Scouts when they were younger, you know that you like build and you race a car. My son was so excited. That was such a rewarding dad experience.
Do you guys
So
still ride it down a hill and all that? Is that how it goes, right?
yeah. There's like a track, and you set up 4 cars on it. They race all at once, and it's so much more automated now from when I did it when I was younger. But like they have it all electronically, like digitally monitored. They do the average times all fed into a computer, and they do like 8 heats for every car. I think there was like 50 cars. They did like 8 heats for every car, but they didn't do like a bracket style. They didn't race every car against every other car. They just raced every car several times against a wide variety of different opponents, and then they took the average times out of everyone. And my son's it wasn't top 3 for like the whole thing, but he won it for Tiger Scouts. And I was doing the math myself. I think he was like 5th or 6th out of like 50 cars. So he did really well.
Sweet. I
And
mean,
then my
that
daughter,
keeps them
my
engaged when they see
yeah,
success. It's like, okay,
yep.
one, I'm sure he worked at it, and it shows that hard work does pay off. And
He did that cheetah paint job because he said cheetahs are fast. I want my car to be fast, so I attribute all the speed. The speed wasn't due to my uh doing all the power tools. I had to do certain parts that he couldn't do because
the
he's too
paint
young.
job for
But
sure.
it was the paint job. It was all the paint job. And then my daughter, a couple months from now, she's gonna have her first dance recital. I'm really excited for that. She's super excited to go to dance every same night. It works out well because it's the same night my son has scouts. So I take my son to scouts. My wife takes the daughter to dance, and it's just nice to see them talk about their dance friends, talk about their scout friends, and thinking back to when I was doing stuff like that, when I was playing sports and being in scouts and exciting things. What about you? Like, what do you and your girlfriend do? You mentioned travel, national parks.
Yeah, I guess so. What we like to do for fun is that we like to travel. I guess kind of our work schedules are a little different too, in a way. She has, well, you can say she has 2 jobs, but she does work a little like a part-time bartending jobs occasionally on the weekends, but she hasn't done that recently just because her full-time job has been needing her a little bit more. But she usually gets home around 6:37 at night, and we'll have dinner and then just kind of watch TV and just relax and go to bed. Like right now, it is past my bedtime, but I am hanging out with you, and I am enjoying myself, so I don't mind. And it is Friday tomorrow, but we actually do
It's a
have
big
a
day tomorrow too. It's a big day if you have a significant other.
yeah, it is. You're right. We are. I do have a little hotel room at the casino tomorrow night, so we're gonna be
Very nice.
staying somewhere not at home. Um, but I do have a traveling thing next month. We're going to be going to Reno actually with my grandma and my mother and my mom's husband and my grandma's friend. They like to gamble, so we're my girlfriend and I are going to just be going on a little trip with them and just experiencing Reno for a few days and going to just hang out and do whatever. We don't really gamble too much. The only gambling I'd really do is sports betting. I'll occasionally play like roulette, but not too
Mm.
nothing too crazy. Uh, Other than that, what I like to do in my day to day, I pretty much work out every day. I enjoy that. I love sitting in the sauna and just sweating my butt off after my workouts. It helps me come home and just digress throughout the day. And then I pretty much watch YouTube all day long. I listen to people chat. I don't know what else do I do for fun. I do like to frisbee golf in the summer with my cousins and things like that. We like to go hiking and Upper Michigan, the Upper Peninsula has some really really nice camping areas and hiking areas up there. So we like to go up there at least a couple times a year. Um,
Mm.
Other than that, just I'm more of a homebody to be honest. I don't really go out much, and
We're big homebodies too, generally. Yeah.
yeah, the only going out I really do is because I have to. So
Mm. Yeah. I actually bought, I think it was for part of my wife's birthday, or well, we're not huge on like gifting things. It's like, hey, if you want or if you need something, just buy it. It's probably not surprising for people to hear that Dan, Robot Dan, is not much of a romantic. But
Right.
I gifted my wife a frisbee golf set because we have a couple like courses around us. We haven't used it yet. I forget when I gave that to her. It was probably late in the summer, towards the fall, so we didn't have much season left. But this coming summer, I hope to use that some, get out, maybe play a little Pokemon Go, maybe throw the frisbees around, and we like board games too. We have a couple games that we play just one on one. I actually went when I did the base box break with PK. I visited a college friend and I played for the first time ever, called Seven Wonders. So my wife and I have Seven Wonders Duel, the 1v1 game it's called, and then we played like Seven Wonders proper with four of us with my buddy and his wife.
I'll have to give it a Google.
Yeah, really good game. Both Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel, really solid
Seven
games.
Wonders Duel. Is that the duel is the 1v1?
Yep,
Just because
yep.
I don't know. It's usually my girlfriend and I, so we would something to do. I don't know.
I
We
would highly
just
recommend that game. It's awesome. Yeah.
always gotta. It's different because now, well, we've been living together for about a year and a half now. So it's like when you live together, you see each other every day, but you have to go out of your way to make time and spend time rather than just seeing each other. That's not necessarily um, you know enough, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, for sure. We're tomorrow we're not going out anywhere. I think the weather's supposed to be bad around us actually. So I asked the wife what she wanted to do. I'm like, we can drop the kids with my parents. We can go out on the town. We can go get it, whatever you want to do. And I'm actually she's like, make me a good dinner. So I'm gonna make some crab legs. I'm gonna make some bacon wrapped scallops, bacon wrapped
That's right up
asparagus.
your alley.
Yeah, I've got the steak, I've got the ribeye out, I got the fillet out. So it's gonna be like a full spread. I'm going all out.
You can't cut the grass, but you sure can cook today or tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
So you got a little snowstorm coming. Do you guys get a lot of snow where you are?
This is the worst winter in like a decade. I've actually been surprised the amount of snowmobiles that I've seen. Growing up, winters 20 years ago used to be like we'd get snow in December a little bit, maybe sometimes even in November. Sometimes we'd have a white Thanksgiving. And then from late December on through late February, we'd always have like a consistent, steady winter with snow just out there. But like the past decade, most years it's like you get a 6 inches of snow and then it melts and then it's a muddy mess. And then you get a foot of snow and it melts and it's a muddy mess. This is the first sustained winter that we've had in a long time around me.
I've noticed that our winters. I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I noticed our winters recently have been like the snow doesn't come till really late, and then yeah, it melts. And we've had a couple weeks ago, I think, because I actually ran outside, and it was like it was a few weeks ago. It was a record breaking day of 55 degrees outside on January, like I don't know if it was like 15th or something like that or whatever it was, but I'm like, this is just it's wild to me. It's there's never been obviously it was a record breaking day for the day, but 55 degrees and in the middle of January is insane to me. And
Mm,
all our snow melted, but it's been snow in the past couple of days. We just haven't got a lot, maybe like 4 inches, I think.
yeah. Yeah. I think I used my snowblower. So I moved into a new house in 2020. So this is my fifth year in it. The first 4 years, I probably used my snowblower 3, 4 times each. I've probably used my snowblower like 8 times already, and for more snow each time too, on average.
I'm curious on what a Dyson air wrap is.
That's what I'm looking up right now. I have no idea what that is. I think it's like a hairstyling, like a curling iron type thing. That's what it looks like. It's like a curling iron hair dryer type deal. Yeah, it's a multi-styler and
Yeah, I feel
dryer.
like those are the types of gifts that you don't gift your significant others because one, you have no idea what the hell you're gifting. And it's
And,
like
and
if she knows, she'll know what she wants. So if she wanted that, she would already add it, like
and that's what I tell her. Like we're doing pretty fine for ourselves financially. It's like if you want, they're $500. It's like, if you want a $500 thing for your hair, I might like have a slight reaction when I see that on the credit card statement. But like, we can afford that. If you get the value out of that, like buy that for yourself whenever you want it. Um,
I think you should
I
just
uh,
trust them though. I
I,
feel
I
like
just don't
your
like
wife would love it.
I'm very particular with certain things. The amount of times that I've gotten something, it's like, oh, thank you for, like, I just rather buy stuff that I need, and then people buy stuff that they need. And I'm big on experiences though. Like, if someone gets me, my parents every year for Christmas, they get us annual passes, annual memberships to the local zoo, and they get us to the drive-through safari zoo. So like, that's an experience that they come to us. They come to it with us once or twice a year. We go to it with the family. We go out. I like getting gift cards for meals. I like making people meals. Like, on my parents' birthday, a lot of times I won't really get them a big gift, but like, hey, we're gonna bring pizza and wings, and we're gonna come over, and we're gonna have dinner. We're gonna hang out. I'm gonna bring over a prime rib, and I'm gonna smoke you a prime rib and bring that over. We're gonna, like, I like doing that kind of stuff more.
Yeah,
Experiences.
I think as as I and we get older, I think those are the things that are important in life, because you have to make time for those experiences, because
Mm-hmm.
like when we were younger as a kid, like they just kind of came to us, whereas now that we're adults and we're old, is that we have to go out of our way and make them come to us. And like I kind of have to also realize that in myself, is that like, you know, all the experiences and memories that I had as a kid, um, yeah, they're all great, and you know, I love my past and things like that. But it doesn't mean that like my future can't be the same, and I have to like go out and create that for myself. You know.
Mm-hmm. I see Brad in chat. He forgot tomorrow's Valentine's Day. He said his wife's gonna be pissed. She's very nice too. I've met her multiple times. Not, I can't say speak so nicely for Brad, but he has a very nice significant other.
I also did meet Brad G in Chicago as well.
He Brad and I have this thing. We go back and forth. I'm Arnold. He's Helga Pataki. He pretends to not like me, but he secretly he's a big fan.
I
Uh,
always get a good kick out of some of the people that always like to troll you in the chats.
I've got interesting dynamic with a lot of different characters in my chat for sure.
One thing though, it can take away from your, you know, Q&As and things like that, because people just like to throw random ass, you know, stupid comments in the chat, and it's just, you know,
And some people don't know if they're kidding. Some people don't know who they are. They don't know the context of like people hopping in and a boom. Like, what's this guy constantly running his mouth? And yeah, it's always interesting.
yeah. Well, I definitely appreciate you sharing this um podcast on your story as well. You
Mhm.
probably brought in most of these people here. I see them in your lives all the time, and I engage with them as well, and I see them all over the place. So I appreciate all them being here, and I appreciate you bringing them. So
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you staying up past your bedtime. I'm a bit of a night owl. I stay up too late all the time, but I'm probably gonna turn in for the night once we wrap this up too. So
yeah,
I thank you everyone in
unfortunately,
chat.
my alarm comes early. I have it set for 5:10 a.m. So it does come pretty early.
Ugh. Mine's not till 8:10, so I get a few extra hours. But yeah, I appreciate you losing a little sleep for this one, because with the kids, like, I can't do before 9.
No,
I either
no,
have to during the workday or after 9. Those are my only
I would
times.
definitely lose some sleep for this. So I
I
mean,
appreciate that.
there's times where there's things that you can do in your schedule. Like there's certain things where I was like, you know, if I have to, you know, leave work a little early, you know, there's certain things that I find important to me, and I think in my opinion, I like my YouTube, and I like where it's going, and I think this is important to me, and I want to continue growing my YouTube, whether that's through just engaging with people like you, not saying that you're going to grow my YouTube, but if we're able to like, somehow become like cordial friends out of this, and maybe in a few years from now we're hanging out at somebody's house and we're having a party, and it's like, like we're just, you know acquaintances and friends and things like that. That's more so what I want to continue doing by growing my YouTube. Whereas like, not necessarily like a trustworthy brand or reputation or anything like that, but more so just like a face to a name. Like, this guy is pretty sweet. Like, I can fuck with that guy. Like, he's pretty cool to hang out with, things like that. So it's like, I think these lives are always fun to talk to people. I want to continue doing these as well. This has been a long time overdue. I haven't done a live like this in almost a year now. So it's good to do these again.
Yeah, it's my favorite kind of content to make, and it's also my favorite kind of content to consume. Everyone, like I've made 4 years worth of long form content. I've made hundreds of hours, and there are certain stories you got out of me for the first time ever. There's certain things I talked about in this podcast, this episode, like that I've never talked about anywhere else in the
Yeah,
hundreds of hours,
and I
thousands of hours.
appreciate
So it's
that.
like, yeah,
Like
and
you're
I appreciate
open.
you. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate everyone in chat being here, using their time, spending their time on us tonight. It's been a much more enjoyable interaction than our prior one to this. So,
I
yeah,
think
I'm
that's one of
thankful for
your
that.
one of your best qualities on YouTube is that how transparent you are with your business and your YouTube. I mean, you literally just showed um, last night on a video that I was rewatching this morning of, you just showed your YouTube ad revenue on a video, and it's like you're completely transparent on these things, and like not a lot of people are willing to say how much they made on a video. And you know I think that's healthy for the hobby, and it kind of like shows people what you can achieve and things like that.
And where I come from is like certain things that I do in my business inherently require high levels of trust to me. So I think the best way to communicate the fact that I'm a trustworthy individual is to just like lay it all out on the line. It's like, this is who I am. This is what I do. I don't share everything. I'm not gonna post up my W-2. I'm not gonna give you my social security number. But like I'm not that far off from it, right? I show my sales, I show a lot of my buys, and I hope people value that. I hope that allows people to trust me, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
just the way I like to do business.
Yeah, I will say I started my YouTube channel. Well, Professor Oak was the one who was like, "I'm going to subscribe to you so you can start making videos."
I remember that interaction actually back in Oak's Discord. I didn't remember it until you said it, but like I specifically remember that.
And then like I ended up kind of just making. I think actually I did a live call-in show on Jake Pokenomics. That was my first introduction to the quote unquote YouTube sphere.
Did you
And
go
then
on Basics at one point?
yeah, I did. I joined his like 24-hour maybe, and or maybe one before that.
I
Um,
remember seeing you on there at one point. I remember the one with Jake too.
yeah, I
I
think
know I've seen you a
I
couple
used to be
places.
Fat Belly Gengar, and
Yep.
I ended up changing my name. And then
Because of all the bannings, right? Because of all the Instagrams getting blocked and stuff, or
that,
was it
yeah,
otherwise?
it was. I wasn't banned or anything like that, but a lot of people were getting banned for using Pokemon
Mm,
or Pokey or whatever. So I kind of was like, you know what? I don't really want a Pokemon in my name, but I kind of like Fat Belly for some reason. For some reason, Fat Belly just kind of like stood out to me, and I kind of wanted to keep that part. And I'm like, what
mm,
else could I use? Fat Belly Collector, Fat Belly Collects. Let's just run it with that. So
mm.
I don't know, it just kept, and I'm just gonna keep it. So it might not be the best name, might be kind of stupid, but I kind of like it. I'm just gonna keep going with it, and it might
My
not be the
name is
best
so
marketing or whatever, but
my name is so long that on certain platforms I can't even fit catch 'em all collectibles. It's more characters than a lot of platforms allow for a username. I think on Whatnot I'm catch 'em all C. On RuneScape I'm catch 'em all call or catch 'em all C maybe because you can't fit all the characters in the username.
yeah, I feel like um, I mean, it probably would be smarter if I use like pokey something or things like that if I want to you know market my brand or whatever. But I'm not really into
But
that. If I want
and
to
when
grow
you really think about it,
organically.
when you think about it too, like one of the biggest Pokemon sellers on eBay is P Football Pete. It's like there's no Pokemon in that. One of the biggest consigners in the space is Probstein. Like it's his last name. So you can have any name if you're doing the right thing. If you can be anything.
Yeah. These lives were definitely one thing that I always enjoyed about YouTube. They brought me into the YouTube sphere, so that's kind of why I started to do my own lives and stuff like that. And then I started really getting into like the Pokemon vending videos and buying and selling videos and things like that. So then I kind of started doing those on my channel. Those have been doing pretty well. I enjoy doing those as well. They're actually really fun for me, and that's kind of why the lives have taken a little back burner. But I kind of want to keep bringing these out again here and there. So um, if you guys are engaged with these, I do want to bring these back again. So hopefully the next one is not another year from now. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely like and sub if you're here hanging out having a good time. Definitely like and sub for further content in the future.
I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year. That's the goal. I think I'll be able to do that. Um, I already gained like 30 just this month alone, the last 28 days. So that's always a good feeling.
Nice.
I'm trying to get over that mark. So it's been a little while coming, but I haven't really been doing the whole grind too long, maybe about 6 months above of doing the kind of vendor videos and buyer videos. So those I really enjoy, and those I plan on keep coming. So I do actually have one that I'm editing right now of the Green Bay show that I just had last weekend. So hopefully well, it's going to be a little busy weekend, so that should hopefully be out maybe Monday or something, Sunday night, depending. But anything you got going on? Any plans you wanna any shout out or anything like that? I know these are mostly your people, and I know you got a big following. But anything you want to say or anything?
We talked about a lot of it naturally. 2 weeks I'm going to be doing this. 6 weeks I'm going to be at Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Collecticon. Other than that, yeah, I'm on online all the time. People know where to find me if they want to find me. I think they probably feel like they can't escape me. I'm live every week, and then Pokeflips, and I'm all over the place.
Yeah, you definitely make your rounds. Pokey Flips is top tier, that's for sure. I like Pokey Flips. It was one of the originals that I think I've tuned in. I know there's a lot of podcasts that start and fade away, and I kind of wish that some of them came back. I mean, everybody loves good old Pokenomics. I kind of wish he came back a little bit. I missed the coffee talks with Dan and the other Dan and good old Uncle Dave.
Dave, yep.
Uh,
And then you had collectors and cards drinking coffee with John. I liked a lot of John's content.
yep,
John and
Radar had
Speaks.
good content. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, when Jake and I don't remember what there's one was called, but with
Pocket change.
rainy day and yeah, but
Po-
yeah, yep.
yep. Pocket change podcast, I believe. Something
Yeah,
like that.
we're missing some good stuff. But there's definitely some people that have keeping the ball rolling, like Retro and Old Card Shop. I love theirs. Theirs is up there top tier in my opinion, because they're not scared to say what they mean. They're not scared to get spicy in there. I love a good swearing. I like when things aren't PG. So
Mm.
their last episode was pretty funny. I remember I clipped
Josh
Retro.
was getting wild. Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh
yeah,
is funny.
they got some good ones. I do like the Slab podcast. I have their magnet on my fridge. There's a lot of good ones out there.
Yep. Yeah. There's too much content. You can't consume it all. But I do my best. I'm on 2X. I'm consuming all I can, but I can't keep up.
Yep. Luckily for me, I get 8 hours at work of just earbuds in and listening to whatever I want. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of YouTube consumption.
Yeah.
But well, we've been going for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. I really do appreciate you, Dan. You're a goat in this hobby. I'm glad we kind of had our little hashments in the beginning. I'm glad we kind of just discussed that kind of whole aspect of things. My questions and I guess concerns about I guess the gem mint not gem mint situation, the prototype and beta card
Prototype.
situation, and then I guess I kind of wanted to just also bring up your business and things like that, and kind of like you know I guess we'll just say like I had a question on what your thoughts on about PK being very public on how easy it is, and a lot of the things that kind of have been going on about people resealing packs, and I got your take on things like the CT scanning of boxes and things like that. So it was I feel like a really good discussion, and I think I'm going to take away some good stuff about this. And honestly, I will probably re-listen to this tomorrow at work. So this is probably going to be something that I will re-listen to actually, which is maybe weird or maybe not, but I'll
And it's cool. It's always cool to learn more about somebody. I've definitely known the name. I remember the lore, the Fat Belly Gengar. I remember Oak challenging you to create a video. I remember all that, but now I know more. Now I know you want to go see all 50 states like I do. Now I know you have a girlfriend, and I know you're taking some trips with your family. First trip to Reno. Like I know a lot more about you now, and it's cool. You're gonna look into the ATB, the America the Beautiful 5-ounce rounds. It's
and
interesting
I'm
to
going to
just
look up Seven
learn
Wonders as
more.
well.
Yep, yeah, Seven Wonders Duel. Yeah, for sure. It's cool to get to know people more for sure.
Well, I'll be in your chats as well, and I'll say hello in the future, and I don't know if I ever reach out to you, or you're definitely welcome back on here. So I know you're busy, but I won't like message you next week like, hey Dan, let's do it again. But
Yeah.
maybe in the next like 6 months or something, like, hey, it's been a while since I talked to Dan, and I always, like I said, I always engage in your chats and things like that. So I'm glad you didn't end up blocking me after our Instagram DMs, and we'll be able to communicate
I
again. So
I have no one blocked on Instagram aside from the people that spam me, grow your account, 50,000 followers for $50. Like I blocked those people. I've never blocked anyone otherwise. I've been blocked by a couple people, but yeah, I don't like the negative interactions. I like when they happen, and then we can smooth it around. We can find some common ground, and I like where this went after a little bit of a contentious meeting last week on my live. So it was good to get this closure. And maybe it's 6 months from now, maybe it's a year from now, maybe it's 2 years from now. Maybe we can make a thumbnail with like we got him, FBI, Dan and Fat Belly. We'll know who the culprit is. Maybe we'll be able to bring closure to that story, and it'll be interesting. To hopefully we get that closure as a hobby someday, and we know who were responsible, and we see a big jail sentence. But who knows? Who knows?
yeah, that's gonna be a big question mark coming forward. Is what's gonna happen with that whole situation, and I'll be in the background hanging out and all ears listening. So.
Mm-hmm. Josh said to block somebody. I got blocked by that somebody. I didn't block them. They blocked me.
The Critical Hit podcast. I've never heard of that. Have you?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I'll pull that up quick,
I wonder
and
if
I'll add
like
one to my watch later.
that's Pokemon or something different. What's kind of crazy is I used to listen to Joe Rogan quite religiously, you could say, just because I had all day listening to podcasts and things like that. But as more and more Pokemon podcasts have been coming out, my time for Joe Rogan really is no more, and I have all Pokemon pretty much in my life lately. I will say I engage with some predator hunter videos and things like that. So that's kind of also an engaging part of my YouTube, and I find those things kind of funny and entertaining as well sometimes. And those guys do some crazy things.
I'm
Some
not
of them,
familiar with that, but
it's
I do. finance podcasts. I do RuneScape content. I'm all over the place, but most of it's Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely mostly Pokemon. It's just it keeps my time busy, and I enjoy it. So I learn a lot, and I am able to, I guess, use my knowledge to grow my collection and make money in it. So if it wasn't for all these podcasts and things that I listen to and engage in, my collection wouldn't be as big as it is, and I would be much more of a casual collector. And that could be for the good or the bad, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But we can just keep rambling on forever. So
I know. Goodbyes are always hard, right?
yeah. Well,
but yeah, thanks again for having me on. Thanks everyone, chat. I hope
thank you
everyone
for
has
coming.
a fantastic night, and I hope everyone has a great day tomorrow. If you have a significant other to share that with, and if not, I hope you still have a great day too. Right?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody for showing up here. I think I have Dan's Instagram and his YouTube in the description. If not, I'll check this video afterwards. If not, tomorrow
I
morning,
see it.
okay.
Yep, they're there.
I'm assuming most people here would know you, but I do have a little bit of a kind of some local following as well, people. So maybe they'll tune in and maybe check you out. I know Dan's got a lot of things he sells. He does fanatics pack openings. He is trustworthy. I would say he's definitely trustworthy. I wouldn't say you're gonna get scammed using his
I don't know what's in here. I promise I have no idea what's in here.
He's got good consignment service. I would recommend his consignments if you're trying to sell things. Probably has one of the best rates in the business. If you're trying to sell higher end cards, you can get up to 94%, which is pretty wild.
95.
95, which is pretty
Yep.
wild. You go to conventions and things like that, people will, maybe give you 85% max on prices. So if you're trying to get top dollar, I would definitely hit up Dan.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, we'll end it here, and thanks for coming on, and peace out, everybody. Until next time.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yep. Peace out, everybody. Fat Belly out.